We already started 10:10. Okay, Israel. Slacky, we're a little late than normal. Our apologies. Hope everybody's doing well. Shabbat Shalom. And we are going to get rolling very soon. Shout out Swore the Truth family. Shout out isbhpk New York, Houston, Virginia. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're gonna get this word out. And if you guys got any questions as we continue through class, just let us know. All right, Majim Wapanya, Yerah Shalom. Rise and face Jerusalem. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ahara. Nothing to know. A war. Zayawam. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us light this day. Thanks, so be it.
That's being weird again. Well, let it go, though. Yeah, we're just going to put it here for now and see what happens. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ahara. Nothing to know. Rayak. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us sweet savor. Thanks, so be it.
Okay. Imagine Wapanya, Yerah Shalom.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Ahara. Nothing to know. Shabbat. Shalom. The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thanks, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anasha. Ayam Yamya. Ahoya. Ma'aya. Yabu'a. Isaiah. Yabu'a. Ma. Yahweh. Sha'aisha. Shemayim. Wa'aratiza. La'a. Yanathan. Lamuwat. Regalia. Yala'a. Nawam. Shashemaya. Hana. Yala'a. Nawam. Wala'a. Yishan. Shashemamar. Yashua. Yahweh. Shemaya. Yahweh. Tazariah. Ayah. Yanyamya. Yad. Hashemas. Yala'a. Hakaya. Bayawam. Wala'a. Balabana. Balayala. Yahweh. Yashemaya. Yakol. Right. Yashemar. Napasha. Yahweh. Yashemar. Habalakya. Rabu'ayah. Ma'aitha. Wa'ai. Awalam.
Aman. Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Okay, I'm going to do the Israelite Credo. Shema Yashalom. Yahweh. Elohayim. Yahweh. Echad. Shema Yashalom. Yahweh. Elohayim. Yahweh. Echad. Shema Yashalom. Yahweh. Elohayim. Yahweh. Echad.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord.
Okay. Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shema. Wadash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakwavka. Taba'a. Watazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'aratiza. Korah. Hayah. Bashemaya. Nathanawa. Lachom. Kol. Yawam. Wasalachanawa. Chawatinawa. Chasalachanawa. Chawatinawa. Wala'a. Tabianawa. Banasawat. Abo. Hawashayanawa. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Waha'ala. Wahathapa'arath. La'aywa.
Amen. Lord's Prayer in English. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Ten Commandments. La'ah Yahaya.
La'ah Yahaya.
Laka. Alahaya. Achayim. Ayo. Panya.
Thou shalt no other power before me.
Number 2. La'ah. Ta'ayna. Laka. Pasal. Wala'ah. Ta'aybada.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'ah. Thalach. Sham. Yahweh. Bashawah.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar. Hayawam. Hashabat. Lakwalashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Kabad. Abaka. Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
La'ah. Tharatazah.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
La'ah. Thana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
La'ah. Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
La'ah. Tha'ayna. Shakur.
There shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
La'ah. Thachamad. Call. Asherah. La'ra'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Okay. Rakta Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Ahawa'ah. Mithanawa.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh that gives to us the law.
Okay, Israel, Yeshabium.
Everybody seated?
Okay. Like I said, Slakia for the delay. We just had to catch up on some things before we went into class. Hope everybody's doing well today, and we're going to go into this topic. In the last few weeks, we focused heavily on King Hezekiah and all the great things that he had done and how he had reformed a flailing Israel. And he had kind of flipped Israel like 360 degrees from his father Ahaz's reign, to the point where, before Hezekiah was back in power, the doors of the temple were shut. Things were at a really horrible time. So now you got Hezekiah came in, reformed everything. And then towards the tail end of his life, his pride started railing up. But really, for the most part, he was a great king, one of the top 3 kings of all time. The top 3 kings, according to scriptures, is David, Hezekiah, and then eventually Josiah, that comes a little bit after our topic today. So we're going to go into the son of Hezekiah, and we're going to see how things go from good and stable to very bad overnight. And it's, we're starting to see this recur a lot more towards the end of Israel's leadership. One strong king, 2 or 3 bad kings. One strong king, 2 or 3 bad kings. So it just this cycle is starting to become a real issue, and we're going to see a major shift. The atrocities Manasseh did, you're going to see, is what fuels the Most High's eventual disgust and him turning his back on the southern kingdom of Judah for a certain period of time. We're going to read this today. We're going to read how bad things went and how the Most High started feeling about Israel in general. So, we're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 1 down to like verse 18. And we're going to start at verse 1, but Kawhi, let's get started. I know you got to get out here earlier before everybody.
Karaya, Shah Shabbatah, Banashah, Banashah,
Karaya, Shah Shabbatah, Manasseh, Banashah, and much. What? Yahweh Shem Yahshua
How about Shem Yahshua?
Once again, shalom for everybody for tuning in. And let's get this going, man. 2 Kings 21 and verse 1.
2 Kings, chapter 21 and verse 1. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem.
And it's crazy how sometimes the wicked get the longest reigns in power. Whereas Hezekiah died at 54. It's crazy, isn't it? But he was 12 years old when he began to reign. And as you know, when you're young, you still have regents and people that kind of guide you to decision making and leadership until you come of age. Now, we read last week that Hezekiah had children late. And the Most High extended his life 15 years so he could have children and kind of establish some type of a family and an heir before he passed on. So he had a child sometime between when the Most High gave him the prophecy and he passed on. So for those 15 years, he had a kid at some of those times. So you would imagine when he died at 54, his son was 12. And when he was 12, he took over the kingdom. Okay? So when that happens, we're going to see what happens and what kind of king or kingdom Manasseh has. Read on.
And his mother's name was Hesbhpk, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Most High cast out before the children of Israel.
He said it was so bad, he operated like the Canaanites. So this dude was operating like the Canaanite kings. And he's telling you that's the worst you could do it. There's different kings that did a lot of wickedness and did a lot of evil. He said he did it like the heathens. He did it like the Canaanites. He's just letting you know the degree of wickedness that Manasseh tapped into. Rita,
That means you've sold out all of any type of righteous example that you could have displayed. You've sold that out when you if you even compare to the heathens.
Yep.
I mean, you sold out your nationality, you sold out your people, you sold out your culture.
Yep.
You sold out your religion. It's like you sold the Most High out, what you believe in. You just went completely opposite of everything, right?
God.
Because that's what the nations represent. The nations represent those that do not believe in the God of the Bible. That means I just become, just an unbeliever. It's crazy, man.
But and with that, it kind of lets you know why people. I don't want to go there. I'm not going to go there. Let's continue.
Verse 3. For he built up again the high places, which Hezekiah his father had destroyed.
All the high places that Hezekiah destroyed, he just reconstructed them and reestablished that individualistic mindset. But because he was on that Canaanite zone, he just didn't sit back and allow high places to be established for Israel to serve the Most High in these high places. What he was doing, he was sitting back here and allowing Ashereth poles to be established. He was sitting back here and erecting Baal temples. He was going to the next level with his forms of wickedness. Read on.
For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal.
We just talked about it. He sat back and doubled down. He's making Baal altars. This is the same stuff that Ahab from the northern kingdom did. Don't forget, when Ahab went left, when Ahab took the kingdom of the north to the lowest depths of decrepity and wickedness, the Most High ended up saying what? Do y'all remember what the Most High said when he saw how wicked the northern kingdom had got and diminished through Ahab's time? This is when the Most High started saying, man, I'm done with these guys. It started getting to the point where the wickedness and the stench of wickedness rose so high the Most High had to start saying, man, I'm done with these guys. I'm ready to move on from them.
He started cutting it short, man.
He started cutting their empires and their time short. And this is when the Most High, when the negative gets too blatant, that's when the verdicts get quicker, and the Most High starts removing people out of their positions with more expediency. Let's continue. So he's making altars to Baal. Read on.
And made a grove.
And the groves were for the female deities. The groves were for female deities. Those high places for male deities. Read on.
As did Ahab, king of Israel.
We just talked about it. Read on.
And worshiped all the hosts of heaven and served them.
He's worshiping and serving all the little small minor deities that was established at the time from all the different countries. Read on.
And he built altars in the house of the Most High.
And this is where it's got even worse. He's sitting back here and building altars to different deities in the temple. Inside the temple. Read on.
Of which the Most High said, in Jerusalem will I put my name.
Not Baal's name.
Yep.
Not Astarte's name. Not all these other deities' name. Read on.
And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Most High.
Sheesh.
And he made
This guy is turning up. Manasseh doesn't give a damn, bro. He's sitting back here making deities in the courts and in the temple. He said he made altars in the house of the Lord, and he made altars in the courts where they where they're washing their hands and they're sitting back here.
The brass laver.
The brass laver and the brass altar. They're putting other altars in that area too. This is deities everywhere.
Goodness gracious.
Read on.
Con. And he made his son pass through the fire.
He's doubling down. He's sitting back here straight going Molech. It's Baal. It's Astarte. It's Molech. It's a smorgasbord of gods and idols. Just take your pick. Yes.
When you talk about putting them through the fire, like literally, like
Yes.
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 He was like the kings of the Canaanites. The Canaanites were known for child
Yeah.
destruction, bro.
And what they would do if you ever had a chance, I know you're a younger dude. Have you ever watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? That gives you a perfect example of how, bro. They used to worship Kali Ma. Kali Ma was like the older goddess that used to be Astarte. And they used to sit back here and they would worship. Part of the worshiping of Kali Ma was to sit back here and bring that kid or that woman, that virgin woman, down into that fire. And they would sit back here and all the drummers would they would do that, and they would do these loud drum beats to drown out the screams, to drown out the torture. This is what they did for their idols. And Manasseh was sitting back here pushing the southern kingdom into this. It also shows you how quickly things can go, and how quickly a household can fall apart, a camp can fall apart.
One generation.
One generation can just throw it all apart. It's really scary. Yes.
And also, is this the same Manasseh in the Apocrypha, prayer of Manasseh?
Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. This is the same Manasseh.
Gotcha.
Let's continue.
Verse 6. And he made his son pass through the fire and observed time.
Now you're dealing with not necromancy, but you're sitting back here dealing with spirit mediums and and what do you call them? Wizards and warlocks
What your boy Nostradamus was doing?
yeah.
Going into studying the times through demons. I know someone's breaking it down.
Star Wars angle. Give him Star Wars angle.
No, that's Nostradamus. He'll when you study about Nostradamus, which I don't recommend, it tells you that he was into channeling demons to get prophecy, and also he was into reading grimoires and religious manuals, and it tells you in certain history of Nostradamus. So I said don't read about it because it'll actually give you the prayers of the demons that he was worshiping astrologically, in order to him to get the vision that he needed to see to write down the next day.
So it wasn't this holy guy that was just getting vision from the Most High.
No, not at all. Not at all. It actually gives you it tells you the prayers that he was praying to, the demons in particular that he was praying to, in order to channel these mediums in order to give them that knowledge.
Hey, isn't that what the Greeks did too?
Yeah, the Greeks
When they
did
would
that
sit back here,
Athens,
and they would cut animals open and
read the liver.
read the liver.
Yeah, that's haruspect. That's called haruspect. That's when they read the liver.
Yep.
It was a couple of things that they did: read the liver, stare at a bowl, a glass of water, and stare at the reflection. They would read the migration of birds in order to get a sign. They'd have a parting of the ways at the fork in the road, and we know who's at the crossroads. You know, they would set up things to to decide. Okay, they get to a fork in the road and declare a direction, and they would part sticks, bones. They use all kind of stuff in order to get answers, because that's what the Most High gave the nations.
Yep.
When you read Psalms 96 and 5, read that real quick.
Yep, that's the gods of the nations are not the Most High. Right.
Psalms chapter 96 and verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
So the Most High didn't give his power and his covenant, his contracts, his laws to all the nations. So the nations got like a subverted version of religion. They got a subverted version of belief system. They had to, in order for them to get answers, we could get the laws and the statutes. The Most High give us His mind frame, but the nations, they have to go worship the elements. They got to worship the stars.
And they got to give something in the flesh.
Yeah, that's
get something
to
back
get something
in
in
return.
Yeah, the Most High didn't allow them to get the answers like we have. We got the oracles of the Most High. We got that divine communication. The nations, He said, what?
It says, for all the gods of the nations are idols.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this: we have divine communication, but that divine communication is predicated on waiting.
Yeah.
Wait, serve the Most High, and I'll open the door for you. Then you take that door.
Yep.
If that door closes, you sit back and wait. And the Most High take you a different direction. That divine communication is still predicated on humility, following, trusting, obedience, staying in order.
Yep.
This communication is you're going to get the answer to the test to a certain degree, and this is what you do. They want something tangible. When the nations are sitting back here pushing for these spirit mediums or whatever the hell it is, they want something more tangible. They want more control. Because that's what mankind wants by nature is what? They want control out. And this is why people tap into these zones. I want control. I want to be able to see where I'm going. I don't want to have to wait on nothing and nobody. This is the spirit. It is the baseness of who we are as people. Control, dominance. I want answers. I want clarity. I don't want to have to wait and be subservient to anybody to get what I want.
It's the backtrack. It's the back door to get an answer without having to go to the Most High. That's why a lot of our people are caught up into tarot card readings, palm readings, different things, sorcery, different types of magic, in order to get to tap into some type of spirituality.
To feel control.
Yep.
To feel that I have a beat on where my life is going.
And a lot of times too, it's a rejection of acceptance of their situation.
Huh?
So if I lose a loved one, I want to go find a spirit medium to find out. Is he okay? Are they? How are they in the afterlife? Are they okay? And what should I do now that they're gone?
Who killed you, Craig?
Yeah.
I want to find out who killed Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our people though.
Someone put roots on me.
Yeah.
I remember that commercial.
So that's our people. Our people will do that. They'll take a backdoor approach to get answers because they're not content on their life. They're not content on their love life, their situation. I want my ex-lover to come back. So our people don't.
That's what all those commercials are about.
Yeah.
If you want to know where your long lost love is, get back with us. He's in Florida. You know what I mean? Call me now.
Yeah. Cleo. Yeah.
I see someone with the beard.
Mm-hmm.
I see someone with the beard. Something about the color red. Something about the color red.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all bull. That's bull. That's malarkey. These guys saw.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Hey, bro. Hey, them gypsies do it well too, bro.
Yeah.
Them gypsies. I seen live situations where I was in a carnival in Europe. And
all the stories. Everyone got these stories, right? They're all different adventures in different cities and states and countries, right?
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's a movie. Listening to him.
Listen, I wouldn't be saying if I didn't see it with my own eyes.
It's always a movie. It's perfect.
Listen, I was in Europe.
I want to know more. I want that meme where Michael Jackson was eating popcorn and theater like this. What's going on? Let's see what's happening. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's real. Like, them gypsies are everywhere, bro. You know, and this before I knew the truth, but I seen it with my own eyes. How I was with a group, and the gypsies pulled this one white girl, and they said, "Your daughter has a message for you."
That's crazy.
And she burst out in tears. Wow. We were just walking on a carnival, bro. It was a carnival, and she just burst out in tears. They beamed in on her. It was a group of gypsies. Yeah. They beamed in on her, and they said, "Your daughter has a message for you." And she was just crying. And then come to find out, she lost her daughter, but nobody knew it. But they knew it. And then they pulled her to the side.
Like, name your price.
Yeah,
you know it was whatever. Listen, I'm giving you my whole check.
Man, they said, "Listen, we want to tell you the message, but we need a payment."
There we go. Yeah. Listen, name your price. I'm giving you my whole check. It's over.
You hear that? It's a wrap. Bro.
It's a wrap.
Your money coming out your pocket.
It's out the pocket.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
You know, especially if you have no spiritual foundation, your money coming out. You know, you got a message from your lost child. Come on, bro. I seen it in my own eyes. We had to yank the white girl away. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because she would start pulling money out, just start paying out. Yeah. And said, "This is what she wants you to know." That consolement, to be consoled after all them years of pain. Yeah. That consolement. What will somebody pay for that? How much will they pay for it? What is that worth?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. To sleep well. How much to sleep well? How much does that cost? How much are you willing to pay for?
Or a confirmation that it's going to be okay.
Right.
The confirmation that what you're going through will end soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That for people that don't have the Most High.
Yep.
That for people who got the Most High, don't take that deal.
They might even take that deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's sad. But
it's true.
Yeah, it's true. So that type of, but the Most High, that's why the Most High said, "Listen, I gave the worship of idols to the nations. I didn't give that to Israel." Read that again.
Psalms chapter 96 and verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Go ahead.
But the Most High made the heavens.
So we supposed to praise who?
The Most High.
The Most High, but
the creator of all these other things.
He's the Most High. He's above all these other gods.
He's the Father of spirits.
And we're not even saying that them deities don't exist. The Most High is just above them all.
And that they all are subservient to Him.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep.
But once again, these guys, Manasseh sitting back here, tapping in, observing times. Now give me verse 6 again. 2 Kings 21 and verse 6.
2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 6.
But Isaiah, who was tapped the Most High just told him what the king was saying. Remember that?
Yeah.
That king that he heard in the chamber.
Oh, that was Elisha.
He heard the war strategies. Elisha was just tuning into the Father through his sacrifices.
Yeah.
The Most High gave him the message.
But see, the reality is nobody wants to hear. You'll get those answers, but you got to dedicate your whole life and mind to serving the Most High.
There's a right way to go to get those answers.
There's a cost. There's a spiritual cost to get the understanding you're looking for.
Yep.
There's a level of commitment that a lot of people aren't willing to submit themselves to get the spiritual answers and confirmations. You know what's crazy? In a lot of the things we go through, the confirmations come through your studying and your trust in what you've read. But you got to put in hours and hours and hours of studying. You know, listen, you know, I'm going to say this. I don't know if you've noticed this in your personal time in the truth. When you don't know what to study, you don't know what to read, and you open the book, and sometimes on that page you open, there's a verse that might be good for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that? With that, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You might get something that can touch your spirit for that day. But if you want to get the real peace of mind and clarity about your life, you got to constantly go back in this book day in and day out. How committed are you to commit to yourself to this word to get the clarity that you need? Whether I'm talking to sisters and brothers, so many of our people always say classes hit them and it's good and it's positive and all that good stuff, but then they're still battling depression. They're still battling sadness. They're still battling a negative outlook. And I'm like, why in the hell For people that are around these scriptures and around this positive, why are they still wrestling with these thoughts? It's because Israel still takes these classes like it's church. We still take the Bible like it's church. We go to class, we get our Bible high, and then we do what? We go home,
Come down.
then we shut it down, then we play whatever niggerly music that's in our car. Or whatever distract. I'm not going to say everybody listens to niggerly music, but a lot of us do. It could be music. It could be distractions. It could be novellas. It could be television. It could be sports. It could be podcast. Whatever the hell you want to listen to. Documentaries. Whatever you want to give your mind to download or relax, it ain't the book. And too many of us think that you got to take your mind away from the book when you're stressed and when you're tired and when you're beat. You got to go dig deeper in the book. How many of you guys study until you're exhausted? I'm painting a picture because this is what it takes to get real clarity. Study until you can't study no more. Does it matter that much to you? Does your peace of mind matter that much to you? Does your spiritual well-being matter that much to you? Because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to not make the truth and the serving in the Most High like church. But a lot of people don't want to commit that many hours to true peace of mind, to true clarity of thought. Because if you commit yourself that much to the book, you will be at peace. You'll have no choice to. You value what you invest in. Can we agree with that?
It's facts.
What you put the most time in your life into every day is what you value. Whether it's your children, family, husband, your job, your career. Whatever you put the most of your time in is what you're going to value. The problem is we don't put enough of our time valuing studying, valuing reading, valuing understanding this book. Because the more you understand the book, you'll have less waves of uncontrollable emotions. You have less emotional spikes. People that have all these emotional spikes and these, I don't know what I'm doing this for, I don't know why I'm here. When you start having those kind of thoughts, man, I mean, how long have you been reading lately? Have you been studying? You know those extreme thoughts come when you don't study? Or these over emotion, you're controlled, you have these fluctuations of emotion, strong, passionate feelings about things, and you don't know where it came from? Where it came from is that you don't read the Bible enough. And you know what? I'm gonna say this. You shouldn't just read the Bible when you're sick. It's like health. We take herbs when we feel bad. Yeah. Maybe you should be eating healthy and eating herbs when you're feeling good. Have you thought about that? No, I'm feeling good. I'm eating pizza.
Yeah. We pull that zinc.
I'm going to Dove Shack.
We pull that
Dove Shack.
zinc, calcium, magnesium when we sick.
When you're sick.
I need that echinacea.
I need some vitamin C. I need some vitamin C.
That echinacea.
Yeah. Echinacea, vitamin C. Now you want to drink teas and herbs and stuff like that. But that's like when we're in the Bible. I need counsel. I need to get in a good book. My thoughts is all messed up. If we're in the book all the time, we'll always be able to manage our thinking and our priority and our spirit. It's just something that just hit me because a lot of our people don't grasp that reality. You don't study enough to be whole. You don't study enough to manage your emotions. You don't commit yourself in the book enough for the Spirit to actually talk to you and work through you. Anyway, 2 Kings 21 and verse 6 again.
2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 6.
No, it was 6.
We didn't finish it.
Yeah, read 6.
It says, and he made his son pass through the fire and observed times and used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Most High.
That means he brought all type of people out the woodwork side.
Yeah.
He sat back in and started putting these wicked guys in positions of power. He started making that the it thing. all type of decrepit, wicked spirits was roaming up in the temple. Read on.
To provoke him to anger. And he set a graven image
To
of
provoke the
grove.
Most High to anger. All of these slaps in the face of the Most High just pissing him off day after day after day after day after day. To the point where the Most High is like, man, I can smell your sins all the way up here, bro. I've had enough. But keep going.
Verse 7. And he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which the Most High said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever.
But he said, listen. He set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which the Lord said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. So where did he put a graven image in?
Holy wasn't holy. Holy.
It was the Holy of Holies, huh?
I was hoping that you couldn't put
He
that.
put it in the Holy of Holies.
He's out of there, bro.
They put graven images in the Holy of Holies.
He's ejected out.
This guy's crossing
He's ejected,
crazy boundaries. He already said he put some inside the house of the Lord.
He's done.
Then he said he puts them in the courts of the Most High. In the court, which was on the outside of the temple. Then you put it inside. Then you put it literally in the damn house of the Lord. I mean, in the place where the Most High said he will always be there.
So,
This guy is a habitual line stepper, right? He's overboard, yes.
well, I don't know.
Was this the inner sanctuary?
Yes, the Holy of Holies.
But how did he get in there? I thought only the high priest can go in there.
You think he didn't give a shit about high holies? I mean, he didn't give a shit about priests.
But I thought you couldn't access that without dying.
I'm gonna say this: you couldn't touch the Ark of the Covenant without dying. And I get what you're saying, but they got in. The scripture tells you they got in.
The Most High didn't strike him dead.
No. That Holy of Holies was open, and they put a goddamn altar in there, bro. This is bad. This is the worst. He said, and because the Most High, this is where he lays. We know the Most High doesn't lay in places made with hands. We know that. But that's how the Jews felt. Israel felt the Most High's presence was there. Christ's presence was there. And it was a complete slap in the face for them to put other idols in the Holy of Holies. Sheesh, bro. Read verse 7 again.
Come. 2 Kings chapter
What I don't
21,
get
verse
is
7.
what I don't get is this what motivated him to do this, to go that far.
A lack of respect to the Most High. It just had to be a lack of respect.
It's almost like he has spite or anger.
Could have been.
You know, a lot of times, he lost his father at an early age. So
Could be too.
a lot of times our people get angry, and they're angry at the Most High. Why you take this person from me? Why you take my family? Why you take my, so they go opposite of religion. They go opposite of sound advice and doctrine and communication. Because a lot of times, I'm not saying that's what it is.
But
That's a probability.
Yes.
Is that, I lost my father at an early age, so I'm mad at the world.
God.
I've heard men say, you know what? If God don't fix my, I've heard men say this out their mouth. If God don't fix my situation right now, I don't mind going to jail, and if I go to hell, I'll be Satan's lieutenant.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I've heard men say that out of their own mouth.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, not even like that, not even long ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna sign up for Satan.
That's so dumb.
I'm gonna enlist myself. That's what people. I've heard people say. Like if I don't get what I want and this don't change for me now, then I'm gonna be mad at the Most High, and I'm just gonna go all the way left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, if you can go to Romans real quick. Romans chapter. Let me make sure I got it. 8 verse 3, I think. No, let me see. Romans
8?
No, wait a minute. Let me find it real quick.
What's it?
Yeah, 3 and 8. Romans chapter 3, verse 8.
Romans chapter 3 and verse 8. And not rather, as we be slanderously reported, and as some affirm that we say.
And some affirm that some people said, Paul says, some people believe that we say what?
Let us do evil, that good may come.
Some people's mentality is, well, I'm just going to do evil until I get what I want. Till something change in my favor, I'm going to do evil until something happens on my behalf. You can't do evil and expect good. But Paul is saying that some people have that mentality, and that's what some people think, and some people say, I'm going to do evil so that good could come. That is backwards as hell. How you going to go all the way left thinking that eventually I'm going to turn back right?
It's like throwing a temper tantrum, man.
Yeah.
And thinking the most, oh man, my son, let me take care of him.
Like Most High, I'm going to make the Most High have mercy on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to force the Most High to have mercy on me. So I'm going to go all the way left. I'm going to go all the way evil so that what? He said, so that what?
It says, that good may come.
Read on.
Whose damnation is just.
He said, but their damnation is what?
Just.
It's just. So when the Most High smash them, it's justified. Because they got that's a backwards mentality. I'm going to do evil and go left so that eventually I can go right. Or the Most High is going to bless me going evil, going left.
Oh.
That's a backwards mentality. He said that damnation is just. Because they had an off mentality of how to get the blessing of the Most High.
From the beginning?
That is skewed perspective of how to expect the blessing from the Most High. So let that go. Just want to get that point. How some people have that mentality.
Listen.
That could be a great motivant to do the things. To take the level he went to, and that and the desire for intense pleasure. Or
he chose to really connect to people, his peers, like Joash did. Remember Joash, the King Joash, when his father figure was there, he was on point. When his father figure died, which was the high priest, then all the princes and his peers got in his head and let them know that you didn't need to follow the older man's way. You can follow the younger man's way and it'll be okay. Yeah. And there was no need to have to sit back here and submit yourself to the old ways, and there's new ways, and you don't have to sit back and be regimented by these old ways. That was King Joash, because half of his kingdom was righteous and the other half was wicked. So that happens to people also. Okay? So to answer your question, brother online, Christ did die for our sins, but Christ never said that there weren't consequences for those sins. And we're going to read about the consequences for Manasseh's sins. All the things we do, everybody wants to sit back here and feel that, everybody wants to tell ourselves, yeah, we sin, so Most High forgives, so we can sit back and move on from the mistakes. No, there are real consequences for our decisions.
I'm gonna say that David sinned too. Yeah. And the consequences of his sin, the Most High gave him mercy, because the penalty for adultery is what?
Death.
Did David die? No, but who died though? His sons died.
Two of them. Absalom
and Amnon, I believe it's the oldest.
The oldest son, yes.
Yeah. So, but and it was violence in his house
for the rest of his days.
For a long time, and his sons did overthrow his kingdom for a short time. Yeah. So, there is consequences. Although the Most High let him live, he still paid a heavy price for that adultery with Bathsheba.
And also, brother, whoever said that question, you read Hebrews 10 and 26, he says, if you keep making the same sins and mistakes over and over again, there's no more sacrifice for those sins. So when you willfully sin and do what the hell you want to do, you can only willfully sin and be forgiven so many times. So even there is a limit to how many times I can keep screwing up and not feel the repercussion of that. Just keep that in mind also. So we're going today into Manasseh, because the thing is this.
Because what you're saying on that point is you can crucify Christ afresh.
Yes.
Through the multitude of continually sinning, you could put Christ right back on the cross and have him crucified over and over again with every time you sin. That's why I'd ask that question. Will you crucify Christ afresh? Mm-hmm. Are you going to keep killing Christ, through your sin every time? Does he got to keep dying every day so in order to keep forgiving you?
Yep.
Or shouldn't have his death been one and done, and I should have felt guilty about my sin to where I repent and I never go back to that sin ever again?
Listen, we're going to go into this chapter, and we're going to sit back and see all the negative he did, and then we're going to see down the line, maybe next week, if we get to it, if we can't get to it this week, that he made a choice to make things right. But we're going to read and see how the Most High looks at the magnitude of his offense. Because people want to act like, oh, I just sinned, I made mistakes, and I made things right with the Most High. We forget that our sin has consequence on all the people that we're attached to.
Yep.
So Manasseh, listen, if the entire nation is watching the king sacrifice his son to Molech, what image is that resonating in the people? That I can do it. Exactly. I can go ahead and do this stuff now. They're see him deal with mediators and enchantments and wizards and spirits and all this stuff. You're reintroducing this into an entire generation of people. And you don't think that has an effect? You sit back, what people don't understand is, okay, I got a weakness, right? I might do a weakness. I might have a weakness. And my weakness is a weakness, but I have some type of control over it. If I introduce my weakness to another person, it could be his addiction.
Yeah.
Do brothers know that? Listen, back in the day, brothers used to go to the club, right? This is back in the day when we were young and immature and inexperienced as men in the truth. So one brother might be ahead and go out to the club, and that's his way of relaxing and chilling. But if he brings a couple young brothers with him, how do they handle the club? They're at the club, shirt off, over drinking, take shots.
Yeah.
Everybody! They're going crazy in the club. They're getting into fights. They're not going to do it once a week. They're going to do it 3 days a week. It's shot night. It's shot special night on Wednesdays. It's Thursdays. It's turn up. Then we got Saturdays. College night on Wednesday.
Working Women's Wednesday.
Working Women's Wednesday. College night on Thursday.
Freaky Friday.
Oh, you can't do Friday. But this is for Israel. We can't do Friday.
Yeah.
I'll go back on Saturday and turn up.
Thursday.
And then there's Thursdays is always a college night. Yeah. Wednesdays is like for the women. Tuesdays, sin is like on Monday. It's like service industry night. So we'll do service industry night on Mondays. It's like certain people have to do it all the time. So one brother's, I'm just going to do a Saturday night thing, becomes another person's obsession. So what did you just do to a brother?
Destroyed him.
You destroyed him. And now he's got a battle he can't control. Now all of a sudden alcoholism is something that's prevalent in his house. He's burning money. He's exhausting expenses. He's not studying. All because I brought this young person into my controlled hobby. This is what Manasseh did on a national level, introducing complete wickedness to people. I've seen ranking men in Israel corrupt young men in Israel since the 90s with that mindset. Taking them to the club, rolling out, doing all these things that feed vice. I've seen it all the time. So this is a real thing. So just imagine that magnified times 1,000 when you're sitting back here committing idolatry and you're sitting back here sacrificing babies and you're doing all type of other whoredoms to get access to these gods. When we get into these topics these next few weeks, you're going to read about sodomite houses that were built right next to the temple. You're going to read about houses that are built for weeping for Tammuz, which is another deity.
Nimrod.
The Nimrod, which is the weeping for Nimrod's son Tammuz, which entails some of the most debaucherous stuff you can read about. all this starts to intensify starting in Manasseh's reign. So he's tapping into high levels of sodomy, men and women, whoredom for women, whoredom for men, bisexuality. All this stuff is happening. He's introducing all this on top of bringing idols in the damn Holy of Holies. He is totally corrupting the nation. Not just him. So you know what? He had enough. You're going to read about it. He had enough gumption to say Salakia. What about the thousands upon thousands of lives that he ruined permanently? That were never able to let it go and change. Just because you might be strong enough to do something and stop. You know how many people got addicted to drugs that way?
Yep.
One person might be able to handle this level of drug. The other person, he's a slave. He's out in the streets now.
Yeah.
You tell me that's not a real thing?
Living crazy, yeah.
But the person who brought him into it was just for fun. It was just for fun. It was just for fun. I can handle it. I've met people that can handle crack. But you give crack to somebody else, they're gone. Am I right or wrong? I know some people can sit back and do some, this drugs is recreational for me.
Yeah.
Some people can do it and just work a job.
Seen couples
And do some crazy ass drugs. But you bring somebody else, he's strung out. Chalk face and chalk ass arm looking like Tyrone, huh? All jacked up, huh? Doing the same shit he did.
It's real.
And you sat back and brought this person into this wickedness. And he's going in and out of rehabs. Is that?
functional addicts.
There's certain people that are functional, some people can't handle any of it. That's the effect of your wickedness on other people. So Manasseh's doing this wickedness, and he's bringing the entire nation down with him. There is an effect of sin. We can sit back here and not be accountable by saying Christ did forgive us. Well, she did. If you repent. But even when you repent, there's consequences that you're going to have to live with forever. People think that when you say Salakia, I won't do it again, then all your screw-ups don't leave a lasting effect. That's untrue. Part of repentance is accepting that I screwed a lot of people over, and their lives never going to be the same, and their failures are on me. And I got to live with that.
You know, Paul, that's what motivated Paul when Paul was crucifying Christians.
Done.
That was part of his zeal, is the fact that he knew how guilty he was after killing the church.
Done. So, let's continue in 2 Kings 21,
Verse 8.
verse 8.
2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 8. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers.
He said, read verse 8 again.
Come, 2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 8. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them.
Mm-hmm.
But they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil.
So the intention in verse 8 was for Israel to never move out of their land as long as they served him. But you know what? Manasseh sat back here and led them. It wasn't just Manasseh that was the wicked man. Manasseh was the wicked man, and he led Israel down a slippery, wicked slope. Read verse 9. So verse 8 was just saying the intention was never to move Israel and uproot them out of their land. That was the intention. Read verse 9 again.
Verse 9. But they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom the Most High destroyed before the children of Israel.
So it wasn't just Manasseh being wicked. He inspired Israel to do wickedness.
Do more.
He was a major motive in that act. I want to go to Jeremiah 5, verse 25 through 31. Then we're going to go to Ecclesiasticus 12, verse 1 through 7.
I was like, he couldn't wait for Hezekiah to be gone.
Well, I'm going to say this maybe, but he was only 12 years old when his father died. This negative, he built this in him. There are certain people that are lightning rods in righteousness, There's certain guys that are lightning rods and negative. I make you want to do more dirt being around this person. He was a lightning rod on the left-hand side. So he said, man, he inspired Israel to do more wickedness than the Canaanites did.
He surpassed the Canaanites.
Yes, we surpassed the Canaanites in evil.
It's got to be bad.
This is horrible. Read Jeremiah. But you know what? If you get to know Israel, Israel's good for that. Jeremiah 5, verse 25.
Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 25.
We're going to read to 31.
Come. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
I want to go to verse 23.
Come. Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 23.
No, I want to go 22.
Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 22. Fear ye not me?
Don't you fear the Most High? Doesn't anybody fear God? Read on.
Saith the Most High. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree?
But you know, people don't give a shit about that statement, unfortunately. The Most High, I'm the one that keeps the water from crossing over the sand. Nobody gives a crap about that when they want to turn and be in their flesh. Nobody wants to think big picture. Him saying that about how he keeps the water from crossing over the sand to get on the land by a decree, by his word.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell you, stop looking in your narrow-minded, tunnel vision, little brains and look big picture. Are you not going to acknowledge the creator of all things? You think this little walled city in Jerusalem is going to protect you when the Most High's touch and reach and grasp? Read on.
That it cannot pass it, and though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail?
Because you'll see, if you ever go to the beach during storm time, the waves are brutal and they're massive.
Yeah.
And the ocean is a scary place. Whether you're a good swimmer or not. The ocean is scary.
Ask them submarinos.
Ask them submarinos.
Yeah.
The millionaires.
Them submariners.
All that money didn't help them in that little boat. In that little submarine boat.
Playing games, huh?
Literally.
And that's the truth. So with all the power and the force that comes from that ocean.
You know, just on that point, they say at that depth of 2.5 miles down, 1,200
How many miles?
2.5 miles
That's
down.
it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It may not sound like
Right?
that.
But what I mean is it.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean is it. I'm not saying it's some light stuff.
Okay.
I'm just saying it don't seem a long point. It don't seem that long down,
No,
but it will bust you up.
It said the pressure is 4,000 to 6,000 pounds of pressure per square inch.
That's crazy.
Per square inch.
Per square inch. This is how much inches.
Yeah, per square inch.
Pounds,
4,000 to 6,000 pounds per square inch at that
like
depth.
a car accident, huh?
Yeah, and he said that most likely, which obviously that thing crumpled on itself, imploded on itself, that it couldn't handle the pressure. And they said that they bypassed safety regulations.
There you go.
Yep.
So to get that thing built.
Yep.
So, and they use carbon fiber and titanium.
Carbon fiber?
But carbon fiber's
like
not.
Honda?
Yeah, like that's car stuff. The
It's
carbon fiber's
eco-friendly.
strong.
It's eco-friendly.
It's lighter weight, but the problem is
So it's good for the environment.
it can't handle that stress.
It's really good for the environment. Not in the water, though.
Yeah, not in the water. Can't handle that pressure. So them lives got lost. Them lives got lost playing with the ocean. Showing you how powerful the Most High statement is when he said he set the ocean into bounds. That's why men build seawalls. They build seawalls to try to stop the water from coming in up on the land. Even them seawalls don't help. They get blown over. Look at what happened in Katrina in the Gulf, Biloxi, Mississippi.
Dams, right?
Yeah.
Biloxi, Mississippi. You had casinos all along I-10. them casinos were down to the slab.
Wow.
They were completely gone. Down to they were just a slab of concrete.
Wow.
After Katrina hit Biloxi, Mississippi.
Wow.
They had barges of ships all the way inland. So but when the Most High make that statement, he's showing you the extent of his power.
Kinda.
But people still won't serve the Most High.
And that's what we're saying. He still controls that water from getting on shore and damaging lives. And if you can see his magnitude on that level, why isn't there an urgency to serve him? I don't even understand why these cats don't lock in. Do they not see what I can do? The power in my hands? It's like Israel keeps testing the Most High. Like that bratty kid that keeps testing the boundaries out. You ever see that bratty kid where you tell him don't touch the light socket, he's doing this? And then when you turn your head, you start turning your head like this. And you turn your head a little more, and you know it's the game now. Now you want to just F him up, but he's your brother's kid. So you touching your head. I ain't gonna get you, but I'm gonna let your daddy know you tripping. But you want to snatch him up yourself. You want to get him and just get him out right there. That's how Israel rolls with the most. They constantly tempting them out. And they're like, you're not my dad, so you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's how them kids are sometimes. Oh, that's how them kids is sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's how Israel is. But let's continue, man. You got any more on that?
No, that was it.
Let's get verse 23.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 23. But this people have a revolting and a rebellious heart.
They're revolting and rebellious. Not only am I rebellious, I'm going to get a bunch of other people to revolt with me. So misery needs company. Not only am I anti the Most High, I'm going to convince a large amount of people to revolt with me. Now that means there's action behind my rebellion. There's action behind it, and this is what Manasseh was doing. There was action behind the rebellion. Read on.
But this people have a revolting and a rebellious heart. They are revolted and gone.
And gone. Read on.
Neither say they in their heart, let us now fear the Most High our power, that giveth rain, both the former and the latter in his season. He reserveth unto us the appointed weeks of the harvest.
He's saying, I control the water, the rain. I control whether you have a harvest or not.
Right.
How many countless times the Most High had Israel go through droughts and famines? He's like, why are you tripping? Aren't you seeing that I can sit back here in an instant and give you a drought and kill your whole economy? But you know what's crazy? You're going to read the Most High didn't even do that to them. He's like, he did that in our early nativity when we were very inexperienced and very young. But through history, we already had enough examples of the Most High could do this. So he's like, man, they already know I have control over this, and they know I've put Israel through crazy droughts, like he did with Ahab. But he said, at this point, that ain't even shaking them. I got to up the ante to get them to realize they got to come back to me. These small stings, these small checks, droughts aren't small. But in Israel's eyes, it's small. That's not going to shake him. He's like, that's not going to shake him. A drought, a damn bad harvest, they don't give a shit. They will just keep doubling down.
We always weigh things off a pleasure-pain scale. Like,
Yep.
how much pleasure is it worth the pain?
Yep.
And if I could quantify that this pleasure is more acceptable and more pleasing than the pain that I suffer, then I'm going to pick the pleasure.
That's what a bad kid does.
Yeah.
That kid that leaves the house when he's supposed to, he's like, can I get more fun? Is the fun I'm going to have when I leave
Worth this whooping.
worth this whipping and this punishment that's going to come after this? I might lose my phone for a couple weeks, but it's going to be worth it. Yeah, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make this run. And if I get hit, I get hit. What's the worst that's going to happen? A month? Grounded? Whatever. Man.
It was worth it.
If this was worth it. This is how Israel balances out their level of wickedness. And you know I'm telling you the truth. That juvenile kid, that little 16-year-old high school dude never changes. That dude's still in your head right now, and you in your 40s, and late 30s. You still got that high school brain weighing those options. It's the truth. But the Most High is like, listen, so me stinging this guy or stinging nation on a damn drought and a bad, bogus harvest ain't going to shake him. Because you would have thought this by now. They was already have chronicled history of doing this to you. Read on.
Verse 25. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
He's like, your sins are keeping you back from the blessings that you're expecting. Read on.
For among my people are found wicked men.
There's a lot of wicked people in Israel. And I'm going to say it again. We're not talking about the obvious Jake that don't follow the laws. There's a lot of wicked Israelites that know Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah and have beards and know the Sabbath. How about that? There's a lot of wicked men that know who they are.
Yeah.
Read on.
They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap, they catch men.
They set a trap, they catch men. Because we just read that not only is these wicked men rebellious, they're revolting. So a lot of our people aren't happy just being wicked and rebellious alone. They got to have people that are aligned with their wicked deeds.
It helps justify it.
It helps justify their wicked stance. So they just wait for a disgruntled person. They wait for a person who's unhappy with what they're going through in their life. Then they jump on them.
You know,
Then they tell them what they want to hear.
Because if I fall, it don't feel good if I fall by myself.
Exactly.
But as long as I ain't the only one that got whooped, it's all good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's the truth. So once again, these dudes are like, I'm wicked, and I'm just going to wait and be patient and set a trap for other people that I can convince to look at things my way. Read on.
Verse 27. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit.
Their houses or their minds are full of deceit. What that means is I have a bunch of different ways to trap you. A bunch of different justifications. A bunch of different ploys to feed your vulnerabilities. To feed your doubts and your questions. This is why it's so important for all of y'all to study. Because all of us are susceptible to getting trapped by wicked people. Being trapped by their suggestions. If you don't commit yourself to studying and reading the book, everyone can easily slide and fall. If we're not in the book enough, if we're not committed to studying. Because who doesn't want to be flattered? Who doesn't want to be told that their way of looking at things is right? Who doesn't want to be told that they're justified for having issues? Having outlook issues at certain people and certain situations. This is how people get caught up with deceitful words, with lies. But lies that are predicated on making you feel good about the negative stance you're taking. But read on.
It says, therefore, they are become great and waxen rich.
Waxing rich in resources and help and alliances. This is why a person that tells you what you want to hear is not the person you want to align yourself with. You want to align yourself with people that tell you the truth about you. Everybody that tells you flattering words, run away from those guys. Because they don't really mean you well. All they want is another person that aligns with them to justify their wickedness. Read on.
Verse 28. They are waxing fat. They shine.
So a lot of times these wicked people shine because they have the what?
Money.
The numbers.
They got the money.
They got the numbers and they got the money, they got the resources. Read on.
And they got liberty too.
Yes.
Because liberty is also very persuasive.
Yeah.
When you got freedom, you know, when you got these pyramid schemes trying to hit you up to join their marketing club, what do they always talk about? Time leverage.
Be your own boss.
No, time leverage. Be your own boss. You know, why don't you? Do you want to be a slave to working, or do you want to leverage that time and spend more quality time with your kids, with your family, traveling, doing the things that you love?
They always do that, bro.
They always, one of the major ploys is that freedom, that liberty. They attack the fact that you're bogged down by a 9 to 5. When if you just come onto their pyramid scheme, you can get freed up from that 9 to 5 and you can retire early.
What they don't tell you is they're gonna be the ones relaxing at the house.
Yeah, exactly.
And you on the grind.
Yeah, because you gotta get in. You gotta pay $500 to get in.
And you gotta hit the pavement while they're sitting back here.
So you gotta get 8 people That put that 500 down, and that's gonna start freeing you up. Everybody gonna shop through your website.
Yeah. Because if he was so financially free, why is he hustling? Why is he ear hustling you?
Right.
Anyway,
I'm just saying that. But
It's
freedom is bait to somebody's ears who's set aside, who has a life of restriction, who's living a life of restriction and dedication. Freedom is one of the bait that people use, man. All the time.
No doubt. You got a question, Saban?
I was wondering if 2 Ezra 8 and 56.
Only reason I'm not going heavy because I got Let's do it. That's a good verse. 2 Ezra 8 and 56. But I have believe me, I have a lot in this chapter that this book to go through. 2 Ezra 8 and 56.
2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 56. For when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High, thought scorn of His law, and forsook His ways.
Because listen, and once again, this goes back to Manasseh and the spirit of wicked men. Liberty is more important than servitude. Freedom is more important than servitude. So what most people do when they get disgusted with the Most High, they are disgusted with the amount of boundaries the Most High puts on us. Now, Scripture said we're free in Christ, but we're free when we're meek and lowly. When we realize that we come last, then it's okay and we're servants, and you accept that promise, then you're free. But most people don't want to accept being a servant. They don't want to accept that they come last.
Come.
So they want freedom. They want freedom to do what they want to do, and they want to find other people who want freedom to justify their wicked inclinations.
Do you agree? Now I say, listen, this is too much. They say too much as far as they don't say it's wicked. They don't say it's wrong. They say it's just too much.
Yep.
They always say it's excessive. Then they go from excessive, and they go into their opinion what they think it should be.
Yep.
And then they'll hold it there. You don't hold it from wrong.
Yep. Because this is how the people operate when they don't want to submit themselves to the Most High. I don't know what's wrong with these
prayer is
codes, bro.
excessive. This much study is excessive. It's excessive.
Yeah.
And then once you can agree to that, now can we agree to it? That's another way?
Yep.
Let's go find another way. Let's go to a high place.
Yep. Now let's sit back here and go to a high place. No doubt. So let's continue.
Verse 28, it says, they are waxing fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked.
This is how we operate. This is Israelite. We overpass the deeds of the wicked. We go further and farther and beyond than what Canaan did. This is the mind of a wicked person. At least the wicked had their allegiance to their national gods.
Yeah.
Let's just say what it is. The Canaanites had allegiance to their national gods. We go far and beyond doing the extra to assimilate ourselves with the nation's ways of doing things. We're all about the other nation's ways more than the Canaanites would. The Canaanites weren't trying to mess with our zone, right? So once again, in deed, in philosophy, we're even more. Listen, you ever see Israel in those June parades? I'm gonna say that. You know what month June is, right? You ever see Judite brothers in June parades out?
Overboard.
You see Issachar at the alphabet parades in June out? Judah and Issachar are the most turned up in them parades.
Most flamboyant.
Judah, Issachar, Ephraim, they are turned up. They're more turned than Edom out there, right? And it's Edom's nature to be that way. Israel does more than they do. Am I right or wrong?
God.
It's the truth. Brother, you get those Judites, those stuck-up Judites, those congressmen that sit back here and say that slavery was the best thing for us. You'll sit back and see those Judites that are running for office out.
Yeah.
They're like, the slavery wasn't even that bad. They looked after us. They took care of us. I'm telling you, listen, you get them Israelites that are in positions of power, government officials, they're more pro-American than the Edomites. They're more anti-our people than they are. That's why they put them and make them governors. Or they make them governors. Yeah, governors. Edomites are always senators. Jake is always governors. I don't know if you ever noticed that. The Edomites are the top dogs. But the Jake are the ones who are the low-level authoritarians. It was always that. Well, I remember in Cali, Tom Bradley was the mayor. This dude was the most Edomitist guy I've ever. It was a Jake dude. Under Tom Bradley's leadership, LAPD was just smacking on Judites. The cops were just terrorizing Israel on the streets. And Tom Bradley was like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Cops weren't getting arraigned out. They were getting written off and just getting slapped on the wrist out. It was bad. But Judite guys in those positions are even worse than Edomites.
Yep.
When you give them power, they're going to back Esau. They're going to back him to the max.
Because they're bread and butter with Esau.
Con. And they overpass the deeds of the wicked.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going, man.
Con. Says they are waxing fat, they shine. Yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked.
That's crazy.
They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge.
It ain't about righteousness. What you're going to read about Manasseh is not only is he bringing idols into the Holy of Holies, he's on all this kind of debauchery. They start killing all the righteous men in Israel. Not only, this guy went so far, he went further than Ahab. Or as far as Ahab. Because they were killing righteous men too. They had to hide the prophets in Ahab's time. But the crazy thing is, all that wickedness came from Ahab's wife. Remember?
Yeah.
Jezebel was the one killing all the prophets. This is coming from Manasseh.
Yep.
Too, right?
Huh?
Saul was killing Levites.
Saul? He killed, but that was towards the end when he was going crazy at David.
Yeah.
Because he felt that the Levites were hiding him and harboring him.
Right.
But that's a difference than anybody that's righteous, you're getting murked.
Right.
Well, let's keep going.
Come, verse 29. Shall I not visit for these things, saith the Most High?
I'm a visit.
When he visits, it's terror. Right? Listen, this is Jeremiah. This is on the precipice of the fall. Now, this happened after the time of Manasseh.
Come.
But what you're reading is the same thing that was happening in Manasseh's time. It's happening again now. Well, let's keep going.
Come. Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this?
Wow.
He's like, I gotta get these dudes, all right?
My soul must be avenged.
Listen, because these guys asked for it. Read on.
A wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely.
First of all, why are the prophets prophesying falsely? Because if they don't prophesy falsely, they're going to get what?
Murder.
Killed. Because that's what you're going to read with Manasseh. All the righteous men were getting murked. So you know what happens? The prophets were making business decisions.
Yeah.
Does that make them righteous? Hell no. They got to deal with the Most High for that. Because they feared death more than fearing the Most High. But the prophets were prophesying falsely because if they told the truth, they were getting screwed over. What you're going to read about Jeremiah, once we get to the end of, right before Babylon takes them over, every time Jeremiah was teaching the king that they were going to fall, he would get thrown in jail. He was getting thrown under the jail. That's a literal term. He was dying under the jail. We're going to go into that when we get there. But he was getting punished tremendously for setting up for what's right. And that took faith, and that took a strong faith in the Most High. But a lot of these guys, they were just saying whatever the hell the priest, the head guy wanted to save their necks. You're going to read about what happened to Isaiah when he stood up to Manasseh. Well, let's keep going. There's a reason the prophets were lying. Read on.
The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means.
And it goes back to the priests. Remember when Ahab or Ahaz, Hezekiah's father, was in power? The Levites had no jobs. So now you're looking at the Levites couldn't support their families because the doors of the temple were closed. So what were the priests going to do? Either the priests were going to sit back here and just figure it out and struggle through it, or they were going to sit back and align themselves up and be priests of other gods. Just to feed their families, to take care of themselves. These were the dilemmas that was happening with the priests. Remember when Hezekiah came in? The priests were unsure if they could go back to the temple and sustain themselves. Hezekiah had to come in there and front the money to make sure all the families of the Levites could get taken care of. He had to kickstart the spirit of giving again. Because once the king starts saying, no, we're not supporting these guys, and they're cut off, what are they going to do? All they know, they didn't have land. The Levites didn't have land to work. So what are they going to be doing all day to make money and to make income?
Struggling, bro.
So you're going to be struggling, selling peanuts on the corner, selling popcorn, doing whatever you got to do? Or you're going to sit back here and sell out and be a priest for some other god?
Was that when the Good Samaritan helped? Was that a priest that he helped? The so-called Good Samaritan?
You talking about in Matthew?
Yeah. Was it a priest?
You know what? I don't even know. I got to go back into that chapter.
I was just trying to, make a
But
correlation.
I don't think that
Samaritan was a nation.
But I don't think it was a priest because the priest already had a position back in those days.
Oh, okay.
The priesthood was already established, and you had Pharisees, Sadducees. They all had they were the elites at the time. But at this point, the Levites were getting persecuted, depending on what type of king was in power. So this says the priests bear rule by their means, meaning they got to do what they got to do to survive. They got to tell me either they're going to start being lying teachers, lying priests, or they have no job and no way to sustain themselves.
Come on.
Read on.
Come. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so.
Hell yeah. The people didn't want to sit back here and pay their extra monies to the Levites. They didn't want to sit back here and be inconvenienced and have to give a portion of their monies to Levi. That was partially why Israel began to be go to the high places. They didn't want to give their cuts and give it to other people. Why else would Israelites not want to go to the temple? They didn't want to give their shekoyim and their supplies and their monies to other people when they can do it themselves. You know Israel's the king of the cheapskates, huh?
Yeah.
They don't want to sit back and just lock into how the Most High wants it done. I can cut the end that way. I've seen the priest do it. He cut the hinder point. He cut the hind point there. He cut up under there. He let the gut spill. I can do that. He skinned the animal. I do that in my house already.
Yeah.
I go up there at a high price to do that. Why I need him for?
Oh,
Ain't nothing but a barbecue.
Ain't nothing but a barbecue.
Yeah.
I'll make it better than him. Why I going to give the hinder part to him? Or the chest, the right shoulder to him? That's my shoulder. And you know that's what Israel was saying that?
So you're going to defund the priest.
Yes, listen. They were defunding the priest act. That's what Israel was doing. Instead of defunding the police act, they were defunding the priest act.
Yeah.
This is the movement. But it was that individual spirit. It was everybody get theirs. But they forgot, the Levites were never given land. So they can't go work on the job.
Yep.
They're screwed.
They say right before Rome fell, the Pharisees and Sadducees and the scribes would have so much contention and with the high priest.
You mean Israel fell?
Well, I mean, Jerusalem fell.
Oh,
Israel fell in Jerusalem in 70 A.D. That the high priest and the priest had beef.
Yep.
So the high priest would go in and invade and take the tithes from the priests so much that they would go to their threshing floors and steal their crops, steal their animals, whatever they had that was given to them, tied to them. They would take their tithes so much that some of the priests died from hunger.
Wow.
Because they said we're gonna get these. You can read that in right before the fall of Jerusalem. That the high priest was stealing the tithes from the priests.
That means it was probably going to the smaller cities.
Yeah.
They're probably going to the smaller cities outside of Jerusalem and taking their bread.
Yeah.
Because there was different Levites in different cities doing the work, like Lachish and all the other smaller cities. They were going to the smaller cities and just deboning them out. You can just see that go for your spirit. And this is what Jeremiah was explaining as we were surpassing the sin of the nations. And we were just completely selfish. And this is where the downfall came. So let's continue.
And what will ye do in the end thereof?
What are you going to do when I sit back and finally lay the hammer on y'all? Because the hammer was coming. I want to go back as a reminder, because we read about how they did things worse than the nations. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 1 through 7, as a reminder of how bad it was back during the time of the Canaanite rulership.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 1. When thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest.
Matter of fact, listen, you head out. We'll get the next man up. Adam. Let's let you answer.
Adam Shaw Shabbatah, Bun Yahawada, Bun Yasharala.
Adam, show us up the top. Bun Yahweh, Bun Yahshua. Imagine. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua.
Yahba Shim Yahshua.
All right. Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 12, verse, did I say 12? And it wasn't Ecclesiastes. It was Wisdom of Solomon. That was a mistake. It was Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, not Ecclesiastes. Wisdom of Solomon.
12 and 1.
12 verse 1 through 7.
For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord.
So once again, the Most High still shows us that before he lays the hammer on somebody and completely destroys them, he stings them little by little. And that's how the Most High has been dealing with the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom.
That's the purpose of sending the prophets.
Khan.
It's to warn them.
Khan. And the only reason the Most High is gradually about to lay the hammer it took him longer to get Judah than the northern kingdom, because the northern kingdom had no righteous king. There was not one righteous king in the north. At least you had a half and half ratio with Judah. Half the kings were wicked, half were righteous. So because of that, the Most High extended their time and power. Read on.
For it is thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices.
And once again, he's saying Manasseh and that generation did it worse than these guys. Come on, look at odious.
Odious, offensive to the senses, disgusting, causing hate,
Brother.
invidious, exposed to hatred, detestable, and abominable.
It's just these acts. Most High can't stand it. It affects the senses. This is how the Most High looked at how Canaan operated. He's seeing how we're doing things the same way during Manasseh's time. They were odious. So let's continue, sir.
And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of men's flesh.
Listen, what is the devourer of man's flesh? You know that they were eating people? They were eating. It was cannibalism, huh? Drinking blood? You don't think this was part of the witchcraft? Eating body parts? Drinking blood? It wasn't just killing babies, huh? They were ingesting body parts. They were ingesting blood. We had to be reminded about the depths of what Canaan did. To remind you what Manasseh did.
Isn't this why
This is witchcraft.
That's why they said don't marry. That's why they made sure for the early patriarchs not to marry with those people.
God.
Do not marry.
Because you were going to start tapping into those
Don't marry them.
sacrifices.
Don't make any marriages with them.
Listen, it wasn't. See, I'm letting you know, it wasn't just freaky sex here.
Yeah.
It was drinking blood. It was devourers of man's flesh. That's a real thing. Read on.
And the feasts of blood.
Feast of blood. These were blood sacrifices going on that Manasseh was doing. with all these witches, with all these warlocks.
And we get upset about like when we see like the Illuminati doing quote unquote and all the other.
Everybody said, "Oh, the adrenochrome." You think white man was the first person who made that up? How about that one?
Yeah.
You think Esau made that up? They were doing it, but they were doing it before Esau was doing it, because it was still about tapping into the fountain of youth,
The spirits, yeah.
immortality, or the idea of pursuing it.
Yep.
All those pursuits mean somebody got to die. Many people got to die to appease these spirits for you to gain life. So listen, Manasseh was drinking blood. He was sitting back here eating body parts. It was cannibalism going on there. This is what Manasseh was doing in Israel. And this is why I'm going to say it was odious. It was affecting the senses. It was so disgusting. Read on.
With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous group, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help.
So listen, the priest would sit back and establish a ceremony, but the person had to do the work. The parent had to kill the kid or in a sacrifice.
Because it's their
If
sacrifice.
somebody else kills it, that was just like us. We had to kill our sacrifice, didn't we? We had to kill our sheep and our lambs, right?
Yep.
Because it wouldn't be our sacrifice if we didn't. Read on, bro.
That the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy colony of the Most High's children.
Kinda.
Nevertheless, even those thou sparest as men, and didst send wasps, forerunners of thine host.
I'm done with that. Because that just goes to the murder hornets that came down to start softening up the population to get ready for us to come down and commandeer it. But we got scared and chicken and ran off. So we're going to let that go. And let's go back to 2 Kings 21 and verse 10, I think.
2 Kings 21 and 10. And the Most High spake by his servants and prophets, saying, because Manasseh, king of Judah, hath done these abominations, and hath done wickedly above all that the Amorites did.
And Manasseh did wickedly above all that the Amorites did. Read on.
Which were before him, and hath made Judah also to sin with his idols.
And that's the point. Not only did he sin, but his sin affected countless other Judites and Benjamites. Read on.
Thus saith the Most High, God of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle. So
Manasseh's wickedness was the direct cause of the Most High saying, I'm done with these guys. They're going to get captured and taken over. This is it, man. The process is going to start now. Read on.
And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dust.
So listen, he says, I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria. The same way the line of Samaria fell, it's going to be the same way the line of Jerusalem falls. And the plummet of the house of Ahab. Remember I said earlier when Ahab went left and brought in Jezebel and she ran things? That was the beginning of the end for Samaria. He said the same way I made in the beginning of the end, it's the same way I'm going to make Manasseh in his reign the beginning of the end for Judah. Read on. I will wipe.
And I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down.
When you're cleaning a dish and you're done with this damn dish, you wipe it, you clean it, you wash it, you wipe it down, and you turn it down because you're done with it. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you do with a dish.
You want it to dry out.
But you're done with it. I'm done with it till tomorrow. I clean it, I dry it, and I turn it upside down.
Or he's saying too, you wipe both sides. That's Judah and Jerusalem.
But he's done with it. The point is, after he wipes it, he's done with it. Then he said, I'm done with Judah. I'm done with Judah. I'm done with Jerusalem. I'm wiping this plate clean, and I'm turning it over. I'm cutting these damn lights off. I'm done.
Kitchen closed.
The kitchen is closed. Listen, Mama said the kitchen is closed. You better not go back there and sneaking and get some cookies and shit. and some ice cream. Because this is going to be an inquiry if somebody leaves a bowl in there for the next day.
The dishes.
Who done left the bowl in here?
Yeah, that's exactly.
The kitchen was closed.
Feeding roaches.
You feeding the roaches. You get the point, right? So the Most High is telling you that He's done with Judah. He's wiping them clean. He's wiping them clean. You know, Most High always talks about His vision. He's wiping them clean off of His sight. Is what He's doing. And this is why they had to get sent to Babylon. They're gonna be out of my sight. Just like they was out of Israel, the northern kingdom was wiped out of His sight. Same reason.
Tired of looking at y'all.
I'm tired of y'all, man. Yeah. And that's how He turns His back on us. I'm going to take you out of my sight. So you're not the focus of my attention. Let's continue.
And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies.
This is the first time He starts saying this about the South. He said Manasseh's wickedness and how he brought so many people to the left. He says, man, I'm done with him. Because of his actions. And how he influenced so many people to fall. This is what should also keep us from sinning. Your sin has an effect. Your sin has an effect. And do you want to ruin other people's lives with your sin? With your rebellion? With your wickedness? Read on.
And they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies.
I mean, they're going to be used and taken advantage of by the rest of the nations. It's always a reminder. We want to talk about the white man all we want. What do we always say? White man has spoiled us. They've preyed on us. They've used us. They've used all of our free work to build their country up. And all those statements are true. But who allowed it to happen? The Most High allowed us to be a prey and a spoil to America. The Most High allowed us to be a prey and a spoil to the Assyrians, to the Babylonians, to the Greeks, to the Romans. You read about all the rebellious Israelites that were called the Sicarii back in the day, right?
God.
They were all the ones that were rebellious against the Romans, like that was an honorable thing. It wasn't honorable to rebel against Rome. It wasn't honorable to rebel against Greece. What we should have did was stayed our asses in order. Kept our laws, kept our statutes, and kept out of the way. And hoped and prayed the Most High will deliver us from these kingdoms. We always got into trouble when we tried to rebel and go against the wave. We were supposed to be a spoil to the nations. That was our punishment for our wickedness. This is what Israel during the time of Christ and after Christ forgot. This is our sentence for being evildoers as a nation. Let's continue.
Because they have done that which was evil in my sight.
And also, too, zealots, too.
That's what I mean. The whole zealot movement.
Yeah, the whole zealot movement. Us trying to do those assassinations with the dagger.
Yeah.
In public. Playing all these games. Being resistant. Listen, bro.
We had the power to
I used to be all for that back in the day, bro. I used to be all about that life. Until I realized, hey, man, you know what? We kind of keep destroying our own temples.
Yeah.
We kind of keep destroying our own priesthood. We destroy our priesthood. We destroy our households. We put idols in the house. And then we get mad that the nations take advantage of us because we're exposed.
Yep. Yep. So, let's continue.
And have provoked me to anger, since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt.
And now the Most High is so mad, he remembers all that wickedness we did in Egypt. Huh? He wasn't even thinking about that until we brought it back up. They've been provoking me to anger since Egypt damn time.
Brought it back.
Well, you know, that's what happens when you start being rebellious. Listen, for all of those people who want to know why their husband or the ranking man always brings up the past, it's because we keep doing wickedness that reminds them of the past. How about that? Manasseh's wickedness is what reminded most High about how we've been rebellious since Egypt. Maybe if Manasseh was in order and pushed his people to righteousness, he wouldn't be talking about how we've been dirtbags since the time of Egypt. I hear so many Israelites say, you're always throwing out what I did in the past. Well, when you sit back here and you keep maintaining patterns of negative, you're going to keep being shown your patterns of negative.
Yep.
You ever tell people they want you to forget all the 15 years of the bullshit they've been doing? Because for a week they did good?
Yeah, they were on point for a week.
I was on point for a week and a half. Why do you keep talking about the past? It was the past. Are you serious? Can you give me a year and a half of good works? And then maybe I'll stop talking about the past. Can you give me a decent run? Can you give me 6 months?
30 days.
Yeah.
Let's start with 30 days. But can you give me like 6 months so I can start forgetting about this pattern that you keep bringing up day in and day out and day in and day out? And you never let me move on. How am I keeping you from moving on from your bad works?
Because you keep bringing it up.
I am simply painting a picture of how people always talk. They want people to forget what they have habitually done for years, but they don't change their works. So we can't forget their habitual patterns. Does that make sense? You got to change your pattern for a long enough time so people can forget. But when you keep making the same mistake, then all of a sudden the conversation goes back to how long you've been this way.
Because good, bad, good, bad, good, good, bad, bad, bad. That's bad. That's not a pattern.
That's a bad pattern.
That's a bad pattern. That's an irregular pattern.
That's the point. Anyway, bro, but this is how the Most High sees it. The Most High is a man too, right? He sees it like a man sees. Come on, you've been doing this all this time. You want me to forget about all this time of rebellious works since Egypt? So now all of a sudden he forgets those line of kings that did right. How about Hezekiah? Forget Hezekiah. What about all these bad kings? You see how a person can forget the good when the bad is so dynamic? Plus, just something for us to know when we're in council and things are being thrown at you, you might not think it's fair. Maybe you got to look at things big picture and know why people respond to you that way. What you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, plus we know the scripture, and I think it's that Peter in Hebrew said, "Day unto the Lord is 1,000 years."
Yep.
1 Peter, 2 Peter,
3 and 8.
3 and 8. So we know that to the Most High, 30 days for us really ain't nothing to the Most High, bro. A year to us ain't nothing to the Most High, bro.
But listen, even for mankind, a year is maybe just starting.
Yeah.
Some change. Anyway, I'm sorry. You got it, bro.
No, but that's all I'm saying. Like we really don't know what a good pattern is.
Kinda.
We call 1 week a good. That's nothing to them. That's a couple of seconds to the Most High.
I know, bro. I know. So we got that, right? Read verse 15 again because we're going to bounce from this point.
Verse 15.
Yes.
Because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger, since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another.
No. I don't want verse 16. So, let's go to Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 1 through 21. We're going to read some Jeremiah angles, bro. Because like I said, we're going to get as much of Jeremiah as we can in. We're going to get as much of the Bible in as we can. And all of the prophets that deal with Israel's patterns. Because what you're going to see is how Manasseh ruled. Jeremiah even talked about the magnitude of Manasseh's actions and how that effect lasted to the very end where Babylon was on the precipice of breaking us. So, we're going to hold 2 Kings and go to Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 1. Jeremiah 15 and verse 1.
Jeremiah 15 and 1. Then said the Most High unto me, Thou Moses, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people.
Now he's like, Moses and Samuel were great, and they stood before me. He's going to see, his Moses is so mad at. He had to go back from the beginning at.
Yeah.
He's like, Moses was with me at, Samuel was with me, the rest of y'all was just dog shit at. That's what he's saying at. He was like, y'all was dog water at.
What about you?
What's that?
What about these?
I know. Read on.
Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth.
I'm done with these dudes, huh? Read on.
And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, Whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, Thus saith the Most High, such as are for death, to death.
He says, man, where we going to go? So he says, I want them gone. They're answering, where we going to go? You're going to die. You're going to die in Babylon. How about that? You're getting brought out of here to your incoming doom. Read on.
Thus saith the Most High, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword.
All these wicked dudes that is operating, you got death coming to you.
Get what you want here.
Then there's all the ones that pursued your place. You got the sword waiting for you. It's waiting. And we talked about earlier. This is why the Most High is stretching out this end times. Everybody's talking about, man, Russia better hurry up and step up.
Yeah.
Russia better hurry up and take out these people. Yeah. Most High's like, he's giving everybody time, so because this sword is coming out. This sword is coming, death is coming out. Read on.
And such as are for the famine to the famine.
Right, he said the famine's coming too. All of us, he says, besides Moses and Samuel, everybody else has been suspect. And he says Israel at this particular time, before Babylon take them over, they're suspect. And the sword, death, and famine is coming to them. Read on.
And such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
Yep. So he says, in the Most High's eyes, there was certain said to be captive, certain said to be killed, certain said to be murdered by the sword in war, and someone's going to just die of famine. I got different murder plots for all y'all. He sat back and manufactured different ways for Israel to suffer out, based upon what will break your spirit.
He got 4 choices out. And none of them
are fun. None of them are good. You want to walk from Israel to Babylon out? You think that's a fun deal?
Trail of Tears.
That's a real damn trail of tears. You want to walk as a slave from Israel to Babylon? You weren't taking the carriage out. You weren't going to get him no gnat. You wasn't getting the Babylon and the gnat out. You was walking. What if you was a 60-year-old man?
Die.
That's the point. Maybe that was the damn judgment. Yeah, you can get water and concierge services. Brother, was it the wintertime? Was it the summertime? Who knows? These are all real shitty scenarios. Anyway, normally when you were besieged, it was in the springtime. Luckily. Well, let's keep going.
In verse 3. And I will point over them 4 kinds, saith the Most High, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy.
After the Most High got past his anger, then he's meditating on how he's going to get you. Listen, Isaiah 21, he was pissed. He said, I'm going to wipe this plate clean, and I'm going to turn it over and go about my day. Now it's like, how am I going to break each and every one of these rebellious SOBs? That's how the Most High is going, right? He's meditating on how he's going to break off different pockets of rebellious Israelites, right?
You watch them pit bull videos, be eating up on people out. They get you down on the ground. It's a wrap. Bro. They start yanking.
You better stop, drop, and roll. You better do something now. You better do like this. You better just protect your neck and protect your head and just deal with it.
But they attack your groin.
No, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh my goodness. But this the Most High is like, I got different spirits set up to break you because of all the pleas and the begging that we just didn't adhere to. Read on. But listen, why? Verse 4 is going to tell you why he was so hell-bent on these murder plots. Give me verse 4.
Verse 4. And I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth.
I'm removing them into all. It wasn't just Babylon we got sent into. But why?
Because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah.
He said, because of Manasseh, is when I said, forget this. I'm done with these dudes. Manasseh was the trigger. Now this is in Jeremiah. So guess what? Was this not after the prayer of Manasseh? Manasseh sent his prayer and everything. Sorry, Father, Salakia. Manasseh sent his prayer, but he still said what? Because of what Manasseh did, now I'm already full into how I'm going to break him. How I'm going to destroy the nation. That's scary. It lets you know you can say, Salakia, my bad, I want to repent all day long, Your actions have consequences. Your decisions have consequences. Your selfishness and wickedness has consequences that aren't changed. He says, man, listen. He said, because of what Manasseh did, now I'm figuring out how I'm going to destroy all y'all. That's scary as hell. That's scary. That's real. Manasseh really screwed the pooch, like white folks say. He screwed the pooch, y'all. It's the truth. Read on, huh? Damn, I mean, this is scary as hell to read. The whole nation fell thanks to Manasseh.
It was hanging on. Well, it was doing
I'm
well.
sorry, yeah, what's that?
No.
It was doing well because of Hezekiah.
I know, and it was all good just a week ago.
Yeah.
And then Manasseh comes in, and it's all over. Read on, but it shows you, this is why it's so important that we take our effect on the people around us serious, right? Because the Most High will sit back and roll in motion a lot of death and catastrophe based on our decisions. Well, let's keep going.
4 from the top. And I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth, because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem.
For the stuff he did, the wickedness that he took to the highest level that surpassed the Canaanites.
Damn.
This is why I'm bringing this death and destruction to Jerusalem.
Erecting all the idols.
Oh, man. Listen, they put an altar in the Holy of Holies.
You know people that die.
Right, listen, he crossed the line. Other guys had put altars inside the temple. He doubled down and put it in the Holy of Holies. Keep going, bro.
Verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem?
Now he's talking to Jerusalem. Because y'all fell for it. Y'all went into it also. It wasn't just him.
Your fault.
He opened the door and y'all ran right through it. Read on.
Or who shall bemoan thee?
Who won't feel bad for you? Oh, you feel bad for Israel? Israel got themselves into this shit. It's like Israel, listen, why are we going to feel bad for Israel even going into slavery? It's sickening and it hurts your stomach seeing Israel having to be in those little small slots in slave ships and getting shat on from different levels and roles. That's the worst, and how their skin was getting eaten away because of it. That's the worst thing ever. But he's saying the same, who's going to bemoan you? Who's going to feel bad for you when you got yourself in this situation? Your nation and your forefathers put you here. It's the same thing. Yes.
I was going to say, around Cape Verde, they got slave ships that went down.
Yeah.
With them still in the ship, still chains. The ships just sank.
Oh, wow.
Because they shipped out at the wrong time. So the captains, they try to maximize their money by going to sea early. And the ships just sank with the slaves on the ships.
Wow.
Still chained to the
Chained up, huh?
Chained to the ships, yeah.
That's
They
terrible.
were still chained. Just all hands.
That's good
just
information to
went
have
down
right there, bro.
Terrible.
with the ship.
But that's the Most High. But see, now understand the Most High, he's like, I want them to get drowned. Just like I want these people to get killed, torn up by dogs. I want them to go. I want them to walk through their captivity. I want this person to get killed by the sword. He's hand-picking which groups make it, which groups die on board. But he's like, who shall bemoan you? Nobody's going to give a shit because your actions got you here. It is terrifying. I don't know what I'd do if I'm chained up and the water's rising up like this. Huh? It ain't probably it ain't over because you're sitting here having to suffer through that shit.
I'm saying.
Listen, even if you're at the top tier, you're just watching people drown, bro.
Screams.
Oh, and then you don't hear the screams no more. It's the scariest thing in the world.
You put it on the chains, right?
And them chains ain't moving. The chain ain't moving, right?
Yeah.
The metal ain't moving. It ain't giving.
Even all your might.
And it ain't changing. And your fate is sealed. And this is why it's so important that the time we got, I know we sit back and look at the news all the time. We're trying to see the signs and when this thing is coming. Bro, my advice to everybody is to enjoy the time you got. Don't rush nothing. And repent and change as much as you can. Because once things are signed, sealed, and delivered and it's over, it's over. And you don't want to be on the Most High's kill list. You don't want to be on that list of how should I take this guy out. Now listen, at this point, the Most High had already gone beyond the begging and the pleading. He said, how am I going to take you down now? Listen, Manasseh's actions sealed their fate. And Israel, following Manasseh's actions, sealed their fate.
Yep.
So now it's not, we ain't no more crying left. Ain't no more crying and pleading. I don't want to hear that shit. You had your chance. There's a certain point, even as parents, when your kid acts a certain way for so long, all the crying don't mean nothing. It's judgment time. I don't know if you had that belt in your hand dealing with your kid, and they're crying and they're pleading, but in your mind, like, I've given you 4 and 5 times. That's it. I'm looking right past the tears, and I'm getting your ass. And I'm going to get you until I know it was enough. This is how the Most High is operating with us. It is really messed up. But we brought this messed upness to us. Manasseh and everybody that followed his way really messed it up. So, read verse 4 again. And then we're going to go down. So it's Jeremiah 15 and verse 4.
Verse 4. And I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth, because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that he did in Jerusalem. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Most High. Thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. And I am weary with repentance.
He says, you know what? I'm tired of second guessing myself. I'm tired of giving you guys more time. I'm tired of wanting to sting you and then second guessing if I should sting you or not. I'm tired of, I'm going to sting you and then I rethink it. No, I'm not going to sting you. Because that's how a person who actually loves his kid operates. Your right mind will say, get him. He's off. And then your compassionate side is like, you know what? Maybe he needs more time. Let me go back and instruct him. Let me calmly tell him what he needs to do. And then you try again, and they don't listen, and you tell yourself, let me have his mama talk to him. And that's what he means by repenting. Let me sit back and send more prophets, send more teachers. Let me get somebody else to show them the error of their ways. He says, I'm done with repenting. I'm tired of holding back what they deserve. They're going to have to get this now. Read on.
Verse 7. And I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them of children. I will destroy my people.
He says, I'm going to take their children away. He says, I will destroy my people. Read on.
Since they return not from their ways.
Mosiah is all or nothing. If y'all don't want to change, I'm just going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy you and clear you off the board. Yes, sir?
I'm sorry, I have to make it. I'm not trying to get too graphic, but when you think about, when you're desperate for your life, and, you're in these chains, and about to drown, you'll do whatever you got to do to try and get out of those chains. That's biting at your limbs. Yeah. That's trying to rip your limbs.
You got to bite 4 limbs though.
You know what I mean? Just how desperate the situation is, man. You know what I'm saying? That's terrible.
And all that, listen, I'm not a swimming guy.
Most of the season.
So I get it. I'll be doggy paddling my ass. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think the doggy paddle approach.
I got about 3 minutes.
I'm like this. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. He's like, I don't got that. I might try a little submarine style out like this. Yeah. I might flutter with the feet. But listen, I get too far in the water, it's over. I ain't got that 2 minutes in the water just doing this, just figuring shit out and thinking. Ain't no thing. I'm in the water, right? It's over. But the scary thing is the inevitability of death. No matter what you do, it's over. Say your prayers, but you're here because I'm done with you. That's the scary. You're here because I'm done with you. And this is where he says, man, listen, you don't want to return to me? I'm taking your children out of. I'm taking you and I'm just going to wipe you guys off of the damn board. Listen, bro. We talked about it last week. I'm taking this. He says some of the people had to get castrated. That was part of the damn punishment. He's killing children. They're getting eaten by animals. They're dying. They're getting castrated. The eunuchs. Don't forget, Isaiah 56 came into play about eunuchs getting salvation. Eunuchs weren't getting salvation in Deuteronomy. Why is all of a sudden they getting salvation in 56 of Isaiah? Because as time changed, no longer are we going to be just in Jerusalem. We're going to be susceptible to the nation's rules now. Now, the people, the men and the brothers who are trying to live right, they have to go through this as the punishment for Manasseh and his family's actions. That's the reality. That's part of the damn L. Anyway, bro. Very scary situation. But he's like, man, he says, I'm going to destroy you. You didn't want to return to me? I'm going to cut you all off. Read on.
In verse 8. Their widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas.
The widows are increased as the sand of the seas. That is out of this world. All the good, where are the good men? They in chains and they dead. He wiped out an entire generation off the map. I think we were supposed to be in Babylon for 70 years. He wiped us out and chopped us down tremendously. I know. Read on.
I have brought upon them against the mother of the young men a spoiler at noonday. I have caused him to fall upon it suddenly, and terrors upon the city.
Read on.
Since that hath borne 7 languisheth.
She that hath borne 7.
She that hath borne 7 languisheth. She hath given up the ghost. Her sun is gone down while it was yet day. She hath been ashamed and confounded. And the residue of them will I deliver to the sword before their enemies, saith the Most High. Woe is me, my mother, that thou hast borne me a man of strife and a man of contention to the whole earth. I have neither lent on usury, nor men have lent to me on usury. Yet every one of them doth curse me.
He says, at this point, it didn't matter if you did good or bad. If you were taking advantage of people or not. You're part of the damn curse. He says, once the Most High put his foot down, it wasn't going to be like the good person was able to escape because the Most High was with him. Be like, no, man. Whether you was lending usury or not, whether you was taking advantage of people or not, you're taking this curse.
That's like when you whoop your kids. You whoop one of them and they laugh, and the other one's laughing.
That's it, bro.
You whoop all of them.
He's getting it out.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You whoop all of them because they was there.
Kinda.
You didn't do nothing about it. You stopped them. You let them do it. You let them get away with it. You should have stopped them.
Yep.
So I'm whooping all y'all then.
No, Daddy. No, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I didn't do it. But this is what happens.
You should have did something. That's what you
exactly. Listen, there's no talking yourself out of that butt whipping. And this is where it's at. At this point, everybody, the good, the bad, they're all gonna feel it.
In 70 years, the population can grow to about 2.5 million people.
Bro, he wiped out a lot. He wiped out a whole. What he's showing, he wiped out a whole generation, bro.
He said one sinner destroyed much good.
And that's the point. And Manasseh is a perfect example of that. Read on.
The Most High said, verily, it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily, I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction.
Mm-hmm. Read verse 11 again.
The Most High said, verily, it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily, I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction.
So he says from the fall to the traveling to Babylon, you're gonna get destroyed. But by the time you get there, he will have mercy on you. Read on.
Shall iron break the northern iron and the steel? Thy substance and thy treasure will I give to the spoil without price. And that for all thy sins, even in all thy borders. Everything
you worked for, every way that you were able to get up and make your shekoim and sustain yourself, I'm taking all that. And it's going to be given away for nothing. So pretty much all your work that you established, living in wickedness, was for nothing. All the effort that you went into pushing for you was for nothing. Read on.
And I will make thee to pass with thine enemies into a land which thou knowest not. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, which shall burn upon you. O Most High, thou knowest. Remember me, and visit me, and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy longsuffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke.
This is Jeremiah talking this. But you know, Jeremiah had to do what?
He was in the midst of it.
Yes. He was in the midst of it, huh? He had to feel it too. Read on.
Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of mine heart. For I am called by thy name, O Most High, power of hosts.
He's like, I enjoyed your word. I wasn't fighting it. Read on.
I sat not in the I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced.
I didn't sit back and align myself with the people that were anti the work, anti the Most High, anti pleasing Him. Read on.
I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation.
Mm-hmm.
Why is my pain perpetual, and my wound incurable, which refuseth to be healed? Wilt thou be altogether unto me as a liar, and as waters that fail? Therefore saith the Most High, if thou return, then will I bring thee again, and thou shalt stand before me. And if thou take forth the precious from the vial, thou shalt be as my mouth. Let them return unto me, but return not thou unto them.
He's like, if you change, I'll bring you back. It's still love. But the Most High has given us the full force of His correction and power. He says, they come back and change, I'll listen. But they got to feel this. They got to get knocked down a few pegs before they sit back here and take me serious. Yes, sir?
Is Jeremiah in verse 18 speaking on behalf of Israel, or just something?
I think it's him. I think it's him. I think it's him.
He said in verse 15, he says, "O Lord, thou knowest, remember me and visit me."
Yeah.
And so he's saying, man, come get me out of this.
Yeah, because listen, he been trying to tell Israel to change. They ain't been listening. And he's suffering. I'm not exactly sure at this point, but he was getting thrown in jail by the king of Judah for standing up for what's right, telling the truth, and not giving the king good advice. He's like, get me out. I know what's about to happen. Get me out of this, please.
Yep.
Let's give me verse 20.
And I will make thee unto this people a fenced brazen wall, and they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. For I am with thee to save thee and to deliver thee, saith the Most High.
We know.
And I will deliver thee out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem thee out of the hand of the terrible.
With all that fire and that indignation, those first like 15 verses was scary as hell. But then towards the end, he still provides that hope. After I break you, if you just turn back, I'll protect you and I'll defend you. If we're just humble.
That's a big if, though.
That's a big damn if. Israel does what, you know what the problem is? It's like if you ever talk to Israel in jail. Israel in jail wants all the scriptures in the world. They want Bible verses. I've experienced this. Brothers want scriptures and breakdowns and information, and they're talking holy as hell. When they get out, guess what? They don't want the scriptures no more. Then all of a sudden the Bible ain't that important to them.
Psych.
A lot of our people are like that. I dealt with a couple brothers like that. I was writing letters and giving scriptures, and I was page full of information. And then when they got out, bro, all of a sudden they weren't coming to class. Because it was just for the moment. When Israel's in captivity, when they're feeling it, when they're down, when Israel feels bad, then they want Jesus. When they get freedom and they get stable again, they don't want the Most High no more. That's the reality of it. When they get stable again, why come to class? I'm good now. So the Most High, I got to keep these dudes in a perpetual state of sickness because they ain't going to come back to me without it.
Exactly.
Or the threat of failure and destruction has to constantly be dangled over their head to keep Israel motivated to do right. Let's go to Jeremiah 16:1, right? It's crazy, huh?
Jeremiah 16:1. And the word of the Most High came also unto me, saying, Thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. For thus saith the Most High, concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bear them.
So first of all, the Most High told Jeremiah, you're not going to have a family. How about you were 70 years in Babylon, huh? You ain't having no rib, bro. You think you're going to live to 90s and having kids? You ain't going to have kids, bro. He's saying you're not going to have kids. You're my prophet. You're going to sit back and suffer and not have a family, B. Jeremiah's like, Khan, I guess so. This is it. Read it from the top again.
3 from the top.
Most High is hard on his prophets, huh? That's real. Read on, huh?
For thus saith the Most High concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place.
Now, read verse 2 again. I want to read verse damn 2.
Verse 2. Thou shalt
I know why this is verse 2. I'm going to get some understanding here, huh? Read that, huh?
Thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place.
We know Israel had children in Babylon. He's talking to him. Read on.
For thus saith the Most High concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bear them, and concerning their fathers that beget them in this land. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried. Wow. But they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth.
They're going to be dying in the streets, bro. They're going to be dying in the streets. It's not going to be a pretty sight. Remember a couple weeks ago, the king of, not the king of Assyria, but the number 2 and 3 of Assyria said, come out.
Yeah.
Come out of the city. And you will have land galore in the nations that you lived in. You will live comfortable and live from the fat of the land. Remember he said that?
He said you have your own fig and your own vine.
Yeah, you have your own vine. But Tobit said niggas was dying in the streets too. Remember in Tobit? Tobit said they was dying in the streets. He had to bury them. Because animals were sitting back here eating them in the damn streets outside. Like it's New York or some shit and rats is getting to them, man. He's saying the same thing's going to happen to Babylon. The children and families are going to be dying in the streets. Read verse 4 again. What you got? You got something?
Matthew 24:19.
Damn, bro, this sucks, man.
Matthew 24:19. And woe unto them that are with children, and to them that give suck in those days.
And the same thing Christ said at the last days. It's going to be what we read about in Jeremiah.
No.
He said, woe to them that what?
That give suck in those days.
He nursing a child. Read on.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Shabbat day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
So the tribulation in the last days is going to be worse than what we're reading about in Jeremiah.
This is crazy.
Read on.
For then shall be great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Go ahead.
And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved.
So it's gonna be worse than what we're reading about in Jeremiah 16, man.
And Jeremiah 16 is pretty damn bad.
It's pretty bad, bro.
Listen, Jeremiah 15 talks about the trip up to Babylon.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 16 is telling you how the trip going to be when you get to Babylon.
Yeah. When you arrive.
When you get there to the jail cell.
And arrival.
When you get to Rikers. This is when you get to Rikers. This is what's going to happen.
Kind of.
This is bad. Read on. Read verse 4 again.
In Jeremiah?
Yes, Jeremiah 16 and verse 4. Shamshwan, do you have more you want to go on out of the verse?
No, sir.
Okay, keep going. Jeremiah 16 and 4.
Jeremiah 16 and 4. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried.
Just like with the Assyrians.
Yeah.
They're not going to be buried. They're not going to be thought about. They're going to be afterthoughts. And just imagine rotting corpses in the city. First of all, how bad the hygiene is, how much sickness and plague is around there.
Exactly.
To where just dead bodies are everywhere, bro. You're living in the conditions of life are shitty. Read on.
Disease.
That's what I'm saying. Disease is everywhere. They're all getting packed up in small places with rampant disease around. Read on.
But they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword, and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven, and for the beasts of the earth.
Bro, the rats and the carnivores and scavengers are going to be eating all the dead bodies out.
The heat also.
The heat?
The heat. Amplifies.
Oh, hell yeah. The smell, right? The swelling of the body is going to be, it's horrible, right?
Explode.
Oh, bro, right? Read on.
For thus saith the Most High, enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, nor bemoan them.
And he said,
Wow.
I don't even want you to sit back here, Jeremiah, and go and console them. He said, don't even go and console these people that are losing family members and kids and children and husbands and wives. Don't even console them. Sheesh. Read on now.
For I have taken away my peace from this people.
He says, I'm taking my peace from them, man. He says, I don't want you to console them. I don't want you to tell them it's going to be okay. I don't want you to tell them nothing. I'm taking my complete peace from these people. Read on.
Saith the Most High, even loving kindness and mercies.
All the loving kindness and mercies out the door. You're going to feel 70 years of hell. Read on.
Both the great and the small shall die in this land.
The princes and the peasants. Whatever class you were in Jerusalem, you was a dirtbag now. You weren't shit now. These cats wearing purple robes and burgundy garments, or the guy wearing peasant gear, you're going to all be a slave in the kingdom of Babylon. Read on.
They shall not be buried, neither shall men lament for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them.
They're not even going to go through any of those ceremonies. Mourning ceremonies. Read on.
Neither shall men tear themselves for them in mourning, to comfort them for the dead.
There's going to be so much death. One more dead person ain't gonna have a. They're gonna be desensitized to death. That's what he's saying. Nobody's gonna be crying over the dead because everybody's gonna be dead. Everybody's gonna have lost ones, lost family members. Read on.
To comfort them for the dead. Neither shall men give them the cup of consolation to drink for their father or for their mother.
So first of all, the Most High told Jeremiah not to console them, and he's like, they're not gonna be consoling each other. You know why? They're going to be so consumed with what they're going through. They're going to be so consumed with survival. You're not going to have time to mourn. Everybody's going to be mourning. Everybody's going to be losing family members. Why would I cry for you when I just lost my child and my daughter last week? Read on.
Verse 8. Thou shalt not also go into the house of feasting, to sit with them, to eat and to drink.
So I don't want you to sit back and party with these niggas. I don't want you to mourn with these niggas. Stay away. Read on.
For thus saith the Most High of Hosts, the power of Israel. Behold, I will cause to cease out of this place in your eyes, and in your days, the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt shew this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore hath the Most High pronounced all this great evil against us?
They're going to say, why is the Most High so hard on us? Why is the Most High giving us such a bad edict on us? Read on.
Or what is our iniquity?
We didn't do nothing wrong.
Oh, what?
This is how Israel's going to be. We didn't do nothing to deserve this. Because that's how people always act. Before bad things. I didn't do anything to deserve this curse. Read on.
Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Most High? Our power.
It's never us.
Yep. It's never us. It's never our fault for the calamity that's coming. Because listen, Jeremiah is saying, the Most High is like, you're going to be prophesying all this bad news, Israel, and nobody's going to want to hear it. Nobody's going to want to take accountability. Nobody's going to want to see themselves. To the very end. Read on.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Most High, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them.
Don't forget, after Manasseh dies, his son Amnon comes in. He's in power for 2 years. He dies. Josiah comes in right after that. After Josiah's reign, it was only 20 years before they felt So the time of the end is right here. Manasseh does his sin, and within 25 some odd years, no, around 30, 40 years, because Josiah was in power not too long, because Mosiah was speeding everybody's reign up. But it couldn't have been but 30, 40 years after Manasseh died that it was over. So in their minds, what did we do wrong? But Mosiah's like, man, your forefathers have been completely wicked. You know what's crazy? It didn't even matter the full-fledged reforms that Josiah brings to the table. Like a couple years later, after Manasseh dies, Josiah establishes sweeping reforms. But you know what?
Too late.
Too little, too late.
Ball still rolling, bro.
Listen, the Most High, like, Manasseh did it for me. It didn't matter, Hezekiah did good, Josiah did good, but that damn dude Manasseh, that was it, bro.
That's a tipping point.
You said this was during, you said 30 or 40 years after Manasseh? Or you said this is during?
30 or 40 years after Manasseh is when the end came.
When
Now
the
this
end of
right
the
here,
southern tribe.
the end of the southern. Now this is Jeremiah. This is
Southern
right
kingdom.
before it happened.
Oh, okay.
Jeremiah is right before it happened. But they're asking, what did we do to get this death sentence? Jeremiah is like, it's what your forefathers did. And you're not listening. From Manasseh, really is from Egypt down. But Manasseh was that last kingdom where the Most High was like, I'm done with these guys. This is it. And from Manasseh is when we start speeding up the time where Babylon comes in.
Can I get this to Ezekiel 22, 1 through 3?
What's up, bro?
Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Now, thou son of man, wilt thou judge? Wilt thou judge the bloody city?
So the Most High is asking Ezekiel, you're not going to judge the bloody city? You need to go judge them. Go ahead.
Yea, thou shalt show her all her abominations.
I want you to show her all her abominations. Read on.
Then say thou, Thus saith the Most High, the city sheddeth blood in the midst of it, that her time may come.
He said, but when you shed blood in the midst of the city, just like we read that Manasseh was doing, offering child sacrifice and doing all these other blood rituals. Drinking blood, doing blood sacrifice, eating flesh, destroying flesh.
Man's flesh out.
Yeah, read.
And maketh idols against herself to defile herself.
And it said making idols. That's what Manasseh was doing. Read on.
Thou art become guilty in thy blood that thou hast shed.
It said you guilty in the eyes of the Most High. Read on.
And hast defiled thyself in thine idols.
Go ahead.
Which thou hast made. And thou hast caused thy days to draw near.
And what he's saying is, every time you commit these heinous, odious acts, he says you keep causing your days to what? He said to draw near. Meaning you get you're pushing yourself to the end. Every time you commit these vile acts, we push ourselves to the end faster than we should normally, or that the Most High, we're forcing the Most High's hand to cause judgment to come upon us. Go ahead.
And art come even unto thy years.
It says, and you've come to your what?
Unto thy years.
So what he's saying is your time is up, man. Your time is up. Every time we get into this type of behavior, the Most High says you're drawing yourself to an end, and your years is about to get cut short. Go ahead.
Therefore have I made thee a reproach unto the heathen.
He said, therefore, that I'm gonna make the heathen hate you. You're gonna be the white man's burden. You're gonna be their burden. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get tired of giving food stamps, Section 8 housing, project living, cutting vouchers. They're gonna get tired of doing all that.
The white man's burden.
You'll be the white man's burden. He said and they're gonna do what? Go ahead.
And a mocking to all countries.
And even the other nations that come over here gonna mock you.
Yep.
They gonna come over and see your condition and make fun of you and exploit your resources.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Those that be near and those that be far from thee.
That's why the Koreans could come over here and laugh at you. Hurry up and buy.
Yep.
The Asians could do it. Elon could, brother.
Sorry for your mother.
I feel sorry for your mother. Brother.
That's an old movie, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Man.
But the other nations come over and exploit too. They take full advantage of us. But there's nothing we can do about it. Because the Most High put that judgment up. Read on.
Shall mark thee, which are infamous and much vexed.
They're infamous, but the Most High let these infamous nations that are no good nations come over here and mock us and exploit us. Because we're the ones that commit sin. The punishment is on our head. You know? So this is what the Most High does. Both he's explaining in Jeremiah and Ezekiel. This judgment comes quicker the more wicked we are. Our days come to an end. And that's the Most High. He don't tolerate it forever. You let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where are we at in Jeremiah 16?
Jeremiah 16 and
Manasseh,
11.
Yeah, let's do 11.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Most High, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my Torah. And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart.
Read verse 11 again, because that's crazy. He says, this death sentence is coming because your parents were wicked, and then you were worse than them. Man, read that again. That's a monster. Right? Read verse 11.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Most High, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my Torah.
So the forefathers, starting from Manasseh's time, haven't fought the law, haven't kept the scriptures, and were really going worse than the Canaanites were. Read on.
And ye have done worse than your fathers.
He says, and you, this generation, has done worse than them. Read on.
For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me.
See what Manasseh did. The byproduct of his sin was that everybody gets to be an individual now.
Yeah.
Listen, I was going to say this earlier, but even the people that were the high places, guys, we've gone over numerous classes about the high places weren't always a place where idols were being served. A lot of these high places were places where Israelites were just chose to be their own spiritual head of their household and became their own personal priest. But listen to what he's saying. Verse 11 said the forefathers were so wicked that in verse 12, this next generation of people just became individuals. Which means this. How many Israelites over the many years that you guys have known of Israelites chose just to be individuals once they saw weakness in heads?
Because that's the safe play.
That's the safe play. Once they saw camps fall, once they saw men in power do negative things, then that was their justification just to stay at home and serve the Most High at home in their own little zone.
That's the green light.
But this is what Manasseh's actions did. This is another aspect of Manasseh's actions. You might not have chosen to serve other gods, but you chose to be an individual. And your answer is, I don't trust men. I don't trust camps. I don't trust brothers. I don't trust Israelites. I can't count on my hand how many people operate like that. He says, so you guys are doing worse. Because everybody walks after their own imaginations now. So when a person gets negative, a person in high position is negative, now everybody gets to choose what type of negative they tap into now.
And this is why the doctrine changes so many times. Right?
Kinda.
Yeah, everybody like, why are the doctrines every 5 years? There's like a doctrine war. 3 to 5 years is a doctrine war in Israel. It's like ridiculous doctrine wars. And it's all on basic scriptures. Like if you actually read the Bible on a basic level, it would make sense. It's not like you gotta be deep. This is basic scriptures.
Yep.
But everybody won't read the scriptures. They want to tap in their books and what they want to learn and what they think is smart, what they think is wise. They want to combine their past information with this and their Moors and their Israelites at the same time. And okay, bro, you're gonna bring your own idea, your own imagination into this Hebrew mode. And there's new people that come in. They're brand new to the information. And they see all these different branches, and they're confused.
And listen, we read about it during the time of Hezekiah, when there were Levites doing their own thing. Because they had lost faith in what? in the whole leadership process.
Yeah.
Because of Ahab.
Yeah.
And the same thing's happening with Manasseh.
Yep.
And all these different leaders and their flaws makes men choose the individualism as the way, because you can't necessarily trust how men in power operate. And the sad thing is, partially they're true, but they're wrong in the spirit. But he's saying, these are the reasons why I'm not with you either. Because you chose your own personal imagination versus sticking to what I laid down. But the Most High is like, why are you using the experiences of lesser men to justify why you don't serve me the way I want to be served? Listen, none of us can debate the necessity for the church and the gathering of the body. So you can't sit back here and choose a different path because you had a bad experience. That's what he's saying to that generation that was on the precipice of the Babylonians taking them out. That's beyond, obviously, the Israelites that were still having the witchcraft and idolatry. Those niggas is for sure got a death sentence waiting. But he's talking about those Israelites that saw weakness up top and chose not to lock in because they saw weakness. Yeah, you got something coming too. Because now, none of us have a justification to walk after our own imagination of our heart, where we think we should go.
Just because I see my parents smoke, drink, party, don't mean I have to.
Don't mean that you're supposed to either.
Do drugs. Doesn't make it legal.
I'm just gonna vape. They smoke cigarettes, and I saw they had lung cancer, so I'm gonna vape instead.
Or I'm gonna drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my own vice.
I got my own vice. I'm gonna go a different. I have a different way of how I should handle corruption. I'm just showing you this is what they're saying, because in their head, I'm not as wicked as those other people.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. I haven't done as wicked as, we didn't do as wicked as Manasseh. There's no doubt that's the position they're taking. But most I like, you're just as guilty because you're just choosing a different imagination as theirs.
Guilt by association.
You're choosing a different imagination. They did their wickedness. Now you have a different form of your rebellion. And he says, because of it, you're just as bad. Read verse 12 again.
And ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me.
Read on.
Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers. And there shall ye serve other gods, day and night. Will I not show you favor?
That's another thing. He says you're going to go. Remember that Tobit said when they went to Tobit, they were eating strange bread of the nations? That was one of the first things they broke in. Strange bread, food, and doctrine. As soon as they got into Assyria, they was doing Assyrian stuff. He says, when you go to Babylon, all this righteous stuff you're talking about, how you are better than them, you go right to this other country and tap into their culture. Follow their idols, follow their gods, eat their abominable food. How we know food was an issue? What did Daniel say? When Daniel got brought into court, he said, I don't want to eat the king's food because it's abominable. Let me just stick to my regular diet and keep myself away from breaking the law. That was the first thing the Babylonians were going to do. That's the first thing the Assyrians did. And the Most High was like, you want to be an individual in Israel, you're going to be an individual when you get to Babylon. You're going to still sit back here and break the rules. You're going to still adjust and change from the right way of doing things regardless. Because it's in you to be adversarial to me. That's what the Most High was saying. Read on.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Now we understand this is also talking about America, because you can take it this way. With the land of the north, Babylon is still northwest or northeast of Israel. It's northeast, just like Assyria was northeast. Read on.
And from all the lands whither he had driven them out. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
So, you read these chapters, half of it is about condemnation, and half of it is about hope. That is the pattern. He says, I'm going to bring you back and repair you, But you got to go through this. Read on.
In verse 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Most High, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rock.
And that's how you know this is talking about a future prophecy. There's going to be a lot of people that teach to bring them in. And then after the people that get taught choose to get taught, most are going to sit back and send people that's going to sit back and destroy the ones that don't want to lock in. Read on.
In verse 17. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face. Neither is there iniquity hid from mine eyes.
And he's also telling us this. Ezekiel was in Babylon trying to teach the Jews. So you can take it on the future prophecy level and you can teach it on a present situation in Babylon. Ezekiel was in Babylon teaching. The ones who listened were spared. The ones who didn't were killed. Read on.
And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have defiled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable, abominable things.
Read on.
O Most High, my strength, and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
Mm-hmm.
Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might. They shall know that my name is Yahweh.
So once again, he's just saying that all these idol worshiping, all this path you've taken, you're going to have to serve your sentence double when you get to Babylon. And for the ones who learn their lesson, they're going to sit back and come back and make it right.
Yep.
Listen, not all Israel left Babylon. After they got sent up, everybody didn't leave and come back down to Jerusalem. Some stayed. But anyway, that's another story. Let's do Jeremiah 17, verse 1 through 4.
Jeremiah 17.
I just want to do a little bit more in Jeremiah, then we'll get back on topic. But once again, why did we go to Jeremiah? Starting in chapter 15, he said all of this detriment and calamity happened because of who? Manasseh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manasseh's sin opened the door for Babylon to take him out. His sin, Manasseh's sin, and the people that followed Manasseh was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. We know that Hezekiah and his flirtation with his ego getting stroked, it's what nurtured Mosai saying that Babylon's going to be the place in the nation that takes you out. But Manasseh's wickedness is what sped up that what's the word? That sped up that judgment. Exactly. Okay? Give me chapter 17, verse 1 through 4 real quick.
Jeremiah 17, 1. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond.
What does that mean? Written with a pen of an iron and with the point of a diamond.
It's engraved.
It's engraved. That was the point. And it ain't going nowhere. This can't be washed out. You can't sit back and make this right, man. You got to feel this. You can sit back and say Salaki all you want. You can try to make it right. That's cool. But you are going to have to feel the punishment and the full weight of these decisions. That's what he's saying. And the nation as a whole has to fall with the ship. You ever hear those stories about, for all the street speakers back in the day, we would talk about the fall of America, and Esau would be like, what about the good Edomites? They would always say that. And once I said, if you call yourself good or whatever, everybody got to fall with the ship. The good, the bad. We just read it in Jeremiah where he says the ones who committed usury to people and the ones who didn't. They're all going to get hit. This is the same thing with us. We all had to fall. The good, the bad, the people with good intentions, bad intentions, the nation had to fall because the sin was written in ink and with the point of a diamond. Read on.
It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills.
That's letting you know that they were still into the altars and the idolatry even in Jeremiah 17. So it wasn't like the sin of Manasseh actually left. Because as soon as, Josiah broke those altars down, the next generation, they brought them back up again. It's like you couldn't get the sin out the people. It was in their hearts. It was in their minds. They were committed to it. You know what it also showed you? Israel were heavy man pleasers. If there was a strong king that said people are going to die if they didn't do idolatry, then they just followed what they were told and kept things to themselves, kept it secret.
Yep.
When there was a wicked one that was in power, they was able to be themselves. Like Christ understood, their hearts weren't changed. Whether it was a good king, a bad king, a good leader, a bad leader, it couldn't change what was in their hearts. And we're going to read later on about Josiah and how Josiah, they knew the law. Josiah knew the law. But by the time we got to Josiah, there was arguably only one copy of the Torah left in circulation. That book that Josiah, the priest, found in the back area of the temple when they were scavenging.
They was trying to clean it up.
They were trying to clean up and organize the temple because the temple was trashed.
They were doing a remodel.
They were doing a remodel
because
the temple was broken down and trashed out. Josiah sat back here and found the Torah, not just the law, but the prophecies. And when they read the prophecies, is when he started breaking down and was fearful about what was going to happen to the nation. What that shows is that they were such in shock that they had the totality of the whole Torah, the whole 5 books, that they had to go inquire of prophets, what's the understanding of this? What's going to happen to us? What does that let us know? If the royalty only had one Bible, what do you think the rest of the nation had? You think they had Bibles at the house? They didn't, bro. They didn't. And the priests barely had it because when cats like Manasseh was sitting back here and raising hell and attacking all righteous people that were trying to serve the Most High, those books were getting banned before the Greeks. We talk about how Antiochus was such a bad guy because all the Bible and the law was getting burnt up by him. They just did what niggas like Manasseh did. They were outlawing the Bible being taught. They were outlawing the law being pushed. It wasn't just the white man Antiochus. We did it first, and we did it better than them. How about that? Because we're pretty damn good at being wicked. So bad to where even though they knew the law, they didn't have the prophecies. Anyway, we'll go into that more in a couple of weeks, but it's just the fact that regardless of having the law and the information, our hearts and our intentions were never made pure. And Christ, the Most High understood this, because we're going to go, if we ever get time today, in Isaiah. In the midst of all the shit that's going on during the time of Manasseh, Isaiah was talking about Christ had to come down here and advocate for us, because nobody was advocating for the righteous man. But we'll go into that later too. Let's go back, Jeremiah 17, verse 1 through 4. Let's run through that and get back to Kings.
You wanted that 1 or 3?
Let's do 1 again.
1. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars in their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the fields, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage, that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
Okay, we're going to let that go and jump now. I want to go to 2 Kings 21 and I think in verse 16.
Okay. 2 Kings 21 and 16. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another.
So on top of the fact that he was doing all this wickedness with the idolatry and the killing babies and all this wickedness, he took it another step forward. Beyond that, on top of the fact that he put the altar, a wicked idol or idol's altar in the Holy of Holies. Then he said, I'm gonna go triple down and I'm gonna start killing the innocent. I'm gonna be proactive and kill anybody that was righteous and tried to serve the Most High. He purged Judah of all the righteous men and women and families. This guy was the worst.
He became a tyrant.
He was a tyrant. He did what wicked Jezebel did.
Yep.
When he was an Israelite. This guy was an Israelite. Jezebel was a Zidonian. This guy did worse than the nations. You destroy your own people. Well, he's destroying his own people, huh? This guy's like damn Stalin. He's just killing millions of people, huh?
Impressive.
He was an oppressor. So, read verse 16 again.
Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, until he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another.
He went and did a whole clean house of Jerusalem. But on the left-hand side, he killed all the righteous men. Read on.
Beside his sin, wherewith he made Judah to sin.
On top of the fact that he did his sin, he influenced Judah. Think about this. If I'm killing all the righteous men, then what am I putting everybody in a position to do?
Turn on the other way.
You want to sell out righteous people, and you got to start doing wickedness,
Oh my goodness.
or you're gonna die. Either you're gonna go left and tap into this idolatry, or you're gonna die. What's your choice? It's just like how the righteous men was forcing left-hand guys to do. Either you're gonna get right or you're gonna die. You're gonna get out or lay down. What you gonna do? Think of psychologically how he damaged families that were trying to do the right thing. Yes, sir?
Yeah, it's like if you're trying to hide and conceal the innocent Jews and put them in attics, so to speak.
Well, it's even worse than that. If you ain't about idolatry, I'm killing you too. If you're not about abominations, then you're gonna die too. It's one step further than that. You can be if you're housing righteous guys, then you're trying to be righteous too. I ain't seen you eat pork. You didn't sit back here and sacrifice your child yet. What are you doing? Oh, you love the Most High? Kill this man. They were pushing men to sit back and commit these idolatries. People had to kill their children to be down, or you all die. So the question is, are you all going to die, or just your firstborn? Make your choice. This is the extent of what King Manasseh was doing. This is bad, huh? Read verse 16 again. And he was worse than them because he was doing it to his own people. That's my point. I can see Greeks taking out Jews. Because don't forget, the Greeks honestly had a justified reason to do it. If you're looking at it from their Greek perspective. Remember that class that we had many Saturdays ago that was the prelude to the abomination of desolation? And remember in that class, the faction of pro-Greek Israelites and the faction of pro-Israel Israelites was split in half. The nation was split in half. And there was more Israelites that wanted to be pro-Greek than Israelites that kept their heritage. Right? So the pro-Greek Israelites went to the kings of the Greeks and said, listen, man, we need your support. Yep. Because the nation is split in half. Half of us want to go Greek, and half of us want to stick to the old religion. Help us out. So Antiochus is like, we have a civil war at hand. If we got a civil war at hand, what do I need to do to eliminate this civil war? If half the population wants to be down with us, then let's just do it. Let's just eradicate the other half that don't. Is that such a bad thing from the Greek perspective?
Makes sense.
So listen, why did the Most High sting Antiochus? Because he attacked the Jews or he had his pride?
This is pride.
It was Antiochus' pride that broke him down.
Yep.
He did what any general would do. This city is breaking apart. We have to establish order here. It is a civil war going on here. So let's establish this. Let's fix this civil war situation and put one person in power so there can be peace. That's not an illogical thing for anybody to do. It was Antiochus saying he was the Most High. Then he got out of pocket and the Most High busted him up. But their actions wasn't wicked. It was the wickedness of Israel where half the population wanted to get elevated and get more money, more authority, and more power. That was why it happened. But you got Manasseh. He's sitting back here and worse than Antiochus. He's sitting back here taking the whole nation into idolatry. He's like, get down and lay down. The righteous people, if you want to serve the Most High, we're going to kill you. So you got a choice. You're going to sit back and serve Baal and Molech and Astarte and do these poles, these Ashereth poles. You're going to tap into this or you're going to die. And your whole family's going to be eradicated. This is what Manasseh was doing. Read verse 6 again.
Verse 16. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another. Beside his sinning and his individually breaking the laws, read on. Wherewith he made Judah to sin.
He made Judah sin literally.
Wow.
He forced death, or you're going to serve the Most High. Now you know why the Most said, man, this is it. I'm done with these guys. I'm wiping this plate clean. This is too much. Does this make sense?
God.
Read on.
And doing that which was evil in the sight of the Most High.
Hold this, and go to Josephus, book 10. Josephus, book 10, chapter 3, paragraph 1.
Antiquities?
Yeah, Antiquities, sir.
Chapter what?
Book 10, chapter 3, paragraph 1.
Page 268.
From the top, paragraph 1 from the top.
From the top.
When King Hezekiah had survived the interval of time, When King Hezekiah had survived the interval of time already mentioned,
That was at 15 years. Read on.
and had dwelt all that time in peace, he died, having completed 54 years of his life, in range 29.
Mm-hmm.
But when his son Manasseh, whose mother's name was
Hephzibah.
Hephzibah of Jerusalem, had taken the kingdom, he departed from the conduct of his father, and fell into a course of life quite contrary thereto, and showed himself in his manners most wicked in all respects, and omitted no sort of impiety.
He omitted no sort of wickedness. Every type of wickedness, he dabbled into it. He dabbled into it all.
Pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, homosexuality.
Yes. It wasn't just killing babies. He was turning up across the board. He said no stone was unturned.
Bestiality.
He tapped into it all.
Sorcery,
all of it. Blood sacrifices, cannibalism. That's what the Canaanites did. He said they surpassed the Canaanites.
Damn. Hell on earth.
Yeah, I know. Literally. Read on.
And omitted no sort of impiety, but imitated those transgressions of the Israelites, by the commission of which against the Most High they had been destroyed.
He said he imitated the same things of King Ahab in the northern kingdom. And those people got destroyed. Read on.
For he was so hardy as to defile the temple of the Most High, and the city, and the whole country, for by setting out from a contempt of the Most High.
He had a contempt of the Most High. That's why he sat back and put an altar in the Holy of Holies. That's another level,
That's what happens when you angry at the Most High. Because that contempt of the Most High is when you're angry. That's what you do. You go out of the way when you're angry. When you're mad at the Most High, You put every form of wickedness on the table and say, you know what? I'm doing this in direct opposition to you.
Kinda.
What you gonna do about it?
Kinda.
Damn.
This is the worst ever, right? This is the worst king of Israel, of the south. Because you can even see when you're reading about Ahab. He was a pushover. You can see Ahab was a pushover. He was weak. He was soft. And his woman manipulated him and dominated him. You can see that how Jezebel ran the show. Remember he went to his woman's house, we went to his house and he pouted. They had to give me the land. I gave him a price for it. Remember that? And he laid in his bed and was pouting out like a little broad act. Yep. And his wife said, don't worry about it, I'm going to take care of it. Exactly. And she sat back here and got the land for him. That let me know that Ahab was soft on crime. He was easy to be manipulated out. Even how he talked to Elisha, you can tell he was weak. This dude is ride or die on the left-hand side, angry at the father, and he's bold, and this is coming from him. This came from him, all of it. You can see Ahab and what he did came a lot from his woman. How she was going to kill the prophets. He didn't say that. She said that. Remember? It's just showing you about this guy's character. This guy was worse than Ahab.
You know what's so crazy is that it don't say why he was angry at the Most High.
Didn't say why.
It don't say why.
Or how it got started.
Yeah.
Or the beginning of it.
What fueled the anger.
Fueled the anger, right.
Discontent. It's just that it was there. Okay, so now, after he says, out from a contempt of the Most High, read on.
He barbarously slew all the righteous men that were among the heathen.
He brutally, like a barbarian, slew them, Mike. He killed all the righteous people. Everybody that stood up for what was right. You know it was public executions too, and they were getting brutalized, manhandled, tortured. They were torturing righteous people. How many Israelites that were righteous had to get tortured before common folks said, we got to use wisdom? Now the wisdom conversation starts kicking in here. Now they start compromising right from wrong. The Most High knows my heart. Yeah. Pass that pork sandwich, please.
Pray over, in fact.
Pray over that pork, that sweet and sour pork. Let's bring that pork over here.
That's what
now we got to use some wisdom.
Be wise as serpents.
And harmless as doves. Yep. And that's when all that wisdom talk comes in. But they're really defiling themselves. And they're really breaking the law. You can say you call using wisdom all damn day long. You're breaking the law. And you're defiled with the Most High because you were afraid of being put to death in a public barbarous fashion like other righteous men and prophets were. Read on.
Nor would he spare the prophets, for he every day slew some of them.
Every day he was going at prophets. He's coming at them annually, huh? He's coming at them, huh? Brother, he was sitting back here going for them, huh? Prophets in particular. I know it was. It was a literal manhunt. They want these guys dead.
And the most righteous of them,
they gotta be dead.
They probably didn't hide either.
You know, and they suffered. Yeah. They were suffering. This is before the white man did it in the Maccabees. Everybody talks about the Maccabees and the white man and everything's about the white man. Niggas did it worse. They did it better than the white man. They was more wicked than the white man. How about that one? Let's go and teach that. Because that's important too.
That don't absolve or justify Esau.
No, it does not. But Israel needs to look inward. I'm only saying that because Israel don't look enough inside themselves.
Huh.
That's the only reason I'm saying that.
But you know,
everybody wants to point about the white man is Diablo. There's a lot of Diablo in Israel. There's a lot of damn Diablo in Israel. And Israel don't talk about it as a nation. Maybe if we were humble enough to look at ourselves, we'd be more circumspect not to be like those other guys. Yes,
It reads like he had a vendetta against the Most High.
He did. That's what he said.
The prophets and his people.
Yes, he did. And that vendetta ended up costing us our city. Costing us our posterity and our strength. And we lost a generation or 2 generations of people because of it. There's no doubt. Read start from the he
No.
barbarously.
He barbarously slew all the righteous men that were among the Hebrews, nor would he spare the prophets. For he every day slew some of them, till Jerusalem was overflown with the blood.
Prophets, godly people, they were public enemy number one. Now I'm gonna throw this out here. You read about Isaiah. Isaiah was sitting back here and prophesying through Hezekiah's time. Right? What do you think happened to Isaiah?
Slew or tortured him.
Thank you. We're going to read about it. Listen, this is an old book I had. One of my first big Bibles that I had. It's called the Ryrie Study Bible. And I'm only bringing this up because I'm going to read the prologue of Isaiah. I'm going to read the prologue of Isaiah. And I'm going to go into some scriptures and some other commentaries that kind of talk about his situation. And we'll go back into the Josephus also. Okay. I'll read this. It talks about the prophet. It says, born into an influential upper-class family, Isaiah rubbed shoulders with royalty and gave advice concerning the foreign affairs of the nation. Though usually scoffed at, he warned vigorously against foreign alliances and urged Judah to trust the Lord. We know he was against foreign alliance because he told Hezekiah, why are you hanging out and talking with damn the king of Babylon? Why'd you bring him into your city?
Yep.
He also stung Ahaz, why are you sitting back here and reaching out to the king of Assyria? I think his name was, what was the king at the time? It was Tiglath-Pileser. Why are you going to Tiglath-Pileser for assistance to take out Rezin and Pekah?
Mm-hmm.
So he was against it anyway. So this is true. Anyway, so it says he also attacked the social ills of the day, and not because he was a social reformer, but because he saw those abuses as symptoms of spiritual dissension. This is the point of emphasis. After living most of his life in Jerusalem, tradition says, and it says tradition because there's not a physical biblical account that says this happened. So you have to go over with some kind of tradition in there. Okay? It says, tradition says that Isaiah was martyred during the reign of Manasseh by being sawed in two inside a hollow log. Now the details is kind of sketchy, but they said from one account that he was hiding in the log as they was looking for him, and they said his fringes made him out.
Wow.
He didn't hide his fringes out. His fringes made him out. They saw the fringes near the damn tree, and they snatched him out and they sawed him in half. It's not talked about because who wants to sit back and read about the details of the death of a great man? So I completely understand it, but this was the extent. I'm only bringing it up to show you the extent of how wicked Manasseh was. This guy wasn't soft. This guy wasn't a kind guy at all. This guy was murdering and torturing great men. This is crazy. And I got to go scripturally to show at least that this incident did happen. It just didn't say who it happened to. So go to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 32 through 39. Hebrews 11, verse 32 through 39.
Hebrews 11 and 32.
Let everybody get it, including me. I haven't got it yet. So let's do this. Hebrews 11 and 32.
And what shall I say? And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, and of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets.
So now we're talking about, obviously Hebrews 11 talks about faith. So now we're dealing with the faith of the prophets and the judges, so to speak. Read on.
Who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouth of lions.
And we know that was Daniel. Read on.
Quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of
Quenched the violence of fire was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Read on.
escaped the edge of the sword. Out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again.
That was during the time of Elisha and Elijah. That happened to. Read on.
And others were tortured, not accepting deliverance.
So with all these certain guys were delivered. Like, Daniel could have got burnt when he got thrown in that oven. Remember, there was 4 people in it. There was Christ and the 3. So the Most High delivered Daniel from the fire and from the lions. So some people got delivered from different scenarios, and others, it didn't turn out that way for them. Some had to die and become martyrs. Read on.
That they might obtain a better resurrection.
That they might have, because the Most High, listen, Kyle brought this out before, that the ones that get martyred, they get a special place in the kingdom. Huh? They get a special place in the kingdom. The ones that are martyred for the Most High's sake, they get a special place. Just like the eunuchs get a special place. Yep. So maybe those Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't get killed because they got a shitty deal on the other side with the whole eunuch business. Most High's fair and balanced how he does things. So he's saying some people had to die and be martyred for doing the right thing, and some people didn't have to die. Yes, I?
Man, I'm just trying to really absorb what kind of faith that is. Like, we're not talking about like a circular saw that's spinning like 100.
No, hell no, bro. You said rent. It might be a 2-man saw where it's like this. It's a 2-man saw, bro.
You got a lot of time to say, okay, I give up. You got a lot of time to say that.
They still in the wood. They ain't hit your body yet.
That's a whole other level of faith, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
And to be content. Because listen, they knew what was coming. Listen, you think that they just saw him? Obviously, Isaiah told him something about himself. I gave him a prophecy about what's going to happen to him that he didn't like.
It wasn't like a beheading of John where it's, head gone and no blood for about a few minutes. About a minute, you gone.
Listen, bro, fight, brother. And you knew it was coming. He knew it was coming. And that was the faith. He knew the death sentence was there, and he told him the truth and had to deal with the consequences one way or the other. He's like Daniel told him the truth too. Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar the truth, and he was going to die too, but the Most High covered him. Sometimes you can stand up for what's right, and you get protected. Sometimes you do the right thing, and you got to die.
Goes both ways.
It goes both ways, but you got to accept however the Most High has you go through it. So, read verse, I think it was 35.
35 from the top. Women received their dead raised to life again.
And that was Elisha and Elijah. Read on.
And others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection.
So he says others were tortured, he says, because they didn't accept deliverance. Remember that old man during the time of the Greeks? They said, listen, bro, I'd make you, you don't even gotta eat the pork. Just act like you're eating pork, and I'll make you great. That was
Eleazar, I believe.
Eleazar. So listen, he was given a better position if he just would have sat back and played ball. He says, no, they took the torture, not accepting the easy out. So the point is, the easy out is provided, and the fact that they didn't choose the easy out was the faith. The faith was that you didn't choose the easy out. Faith is you chose the difficult path, knowing you was going to take major damages behind it. It was the same thing happened to those 7 sons and a mother.
Yep.
They sat back and just stuck their tongue out and got fried to death.
Man, come on.
And they were told you don't got to go through this. I will bring you and elevate you. Faith is you took the damn death like a G. Because it was for the right reasons. It still shows you that faith is works. Faith is a decision.
Action.
Faith is a stance that you take. Faith is accepting of the loss for doing the right thing.
Can you digest it?
But he says those are the ones that get the greater glory, though.
And you don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation.
We can talk all that tough talk.
Yeah.
When you sit back, you facing the damn chopping block, bro. You want, listen.
That's easy.
The guillotine's easy. How about that one? That guillotine shit's easy. Because you're out. That's a quick death. Putting in a frying pan?
Slow roast.
A slow roast? Are you serious, bro? You're going to fry to death? The more you move, the more body parts are going to get burned. Can you imagine how jacked up that is, Ike?
Yeah.
If you really
That's horrible. That is horrible. Getting sawed in two?
if you really think vividly on that, like, you can't even comprehend.
Getting sawed in two, Ike? The layers you got to go through? You're like in a TV show where one hack's going to take the head off, Ike. Hey, that's bullshit, Ike.
Yeah.
You sitting back here, you going, and you taking your time, Ike. And you just going through layers of soft tissue, Ike.
They laugh.
And bone.
And bone, Ike. Oh, my gosh. Come on, bro.
They laughing.
And they have you all, listen, they got hands on you, can't move. And you're gonna see it.
Oh.
And you know this is coming to you.
Oh my God.
Read on verse 36.
36. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings. Yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment.
You had some guys that were put in jail for, like, I remember the time of Asa, King Asa. Remember the prophet came to him and said, listen, bro, you're out of pocket for making an alliance with the king of Syria to fight the northern kingdom. You should have had faith like you did when you took out the king of Ethiopia. So because of that, you're going to always have wars in your life.
Yep.
What did King Asa do? He threw that nigga in jail. And you never heard about him coming out. You never heard about him coming out.
Nope.
He didn't get no reprieves about a new president.
A term. He had a term.
Yeah,
He had an 8 year stint.
You didn't get no like I'm gonna sit back and I'm pardon this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's in the clink, guy.
It's kind of like Jeremiah. Jeremiah had a couple of.
He was in the clink too.
Yeah.
That's my point. My point is, it's one thing to be in the clink for the rest of your life. It's another thing to get sawed in half forever. And that's it, bro.
Yeah.
Let's keep going, man.
In 37. They were stoned. They were sawn asunder.
That's how you know it actually happened. It just doesn't say who got sawn asunder, but it's mutually understood that Isaiah was the one that was sawn in half. They were stoned. They were sawn asunder. Read on.
Were tempted.
Hell, you know what the temptation is? If you don't serve these idols, we're going to kill you. That's the temptation.
How much do you love your life?
Do you love your life or not? What do you choose?
Your family first. Put their family.
Oh, listen, your family dies too.
Yeah.
That's it. What do you want to do? Are you ready to die tonight? Because if you don't do this, you're going to die tonight, and I'm going to have you watch your family die. Don't forget, they had the mother watch the kids die. That was done on purpose to get her to convince the kids to fold.
And these are deeply devoted people. You know.
Con!
To them like
Con! And this is why the most says that because of what Manasseh did and the extent of what he did, I gotta finish this guy off. I gotta wipe this guy off the damn table. I gotta take the people off. Because the people like what it shows is, but the most had to be so mad at the people began to be the mob too. If it was just him, you think the Most High would destroy them all? That means Israelites were killing other Israelites who were righteous. It was a mob in Jerusalem, huh? You know it was, huh? It was the kind of vibe where everybody was having to prove to everybody else that it was anti the Most High. You read about all those stories about that mob mentality, whether it was during the Puritans. Everybody was trying to murk everybody, huh? And calling everybody a witch. When that mob mentality kicks in, you're going to kill anybody to prove you down to save your skin. You're going to be proactive as hell. So everybody got in that mob mentality. Let's kill them. Let's kill them. Let's kill them. Let's kill all the righteous people.
I want a verse on that. Acts chapter 12. Read that. Acts chapter 12. Start at verse 1.
Acts 12 and 1. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews.
It said, and because Herod saw that it what?
Pleased
the Jews.
It pleased the Jews to put who?
the Jews
It pleased the Jews to put James
to death.
to death. What does it mean to please the Jews? To see somebody? What does that mean? I mean, you got a thrill. You call it a thrill. There's some excitement behind it. And but we're gonna stick to the scriptures because the scripture says that he killed James. Read on.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews,
Go ahead.
he proceeded further to take Peter also.
He said, I'm finna get another one. That's it. We're gonna do round 2. Since y'all are so excited to kill James, the brother of Christ, I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all another one. See, y'all like this kind of stuff. Y'all get a kick out of this.
And he's obviously getting something.
They
that he
rejoice to
likes
do evil.
from them.
Yeah.
But to do good, they know not.
So he said you got a thrill. Now, when you read, we're gonna stick to the scripture as being true, but we're still gonna read this right quick. Now we gotta read this.
Come.
In the Eusebius, it says how they killed James. Read right
You
here.
got it, huh?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
It's been colored on for
It just got colored on.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Read that 14. Yeah.
All right. Eusebius' ecclesiastical history. And as many were confirmed and glorified in this testimony of James, and said, Hosanna to the Son of David, these same priests and Pharisees said to one another, we have done badly in affording such testimony to Jesus.
So he said they were trying to set up James to calm the people down and to say that Jesus was a fraud. But it backfired, and James pronounced that Christ is the only way to salvation. So they said, okay, we made a mistake by putting James up, trying to put him into the people, because they respected James. They said it was a bad idea putting James up to tell the people that Jesus was a fraud. He did just the opposite. Go ahead.
Let us go up and cast him down.
So they put him on the temple. He was in the temple of Solomon, and he was on a mezzanine on an upper level, and they pushed him off the upper level.
That's crazy.
Go ahead.
Wow.
That they may dread to believe in him.
Because we didn't want nobody believing in Christ. Go ahead.
And they cried out, uh-oh, justice himself is deceived. And they fulfill that which is written in Isaiah. Let us take away the just.
Let us do what?
Let us take away the just.
It just so happened that James was also known as James the Just. That was also his surname, James the Just. Go ahead.
Because he is offensive to us.
But it matched the prophecy. The just are offensive to the children of Israel. They don't like the just. They don't like anybody that stand for righteousness. You hate it when you stand for righteousness. Read on.
That's why Christ said James and John were going to be baptized the same way that Christ was baptized.
Mm-hmm.
That same type of torture and suffering that Christ had to go through. But keep going.
Yep.
Wherefore they shall eat the fruit of their own doings.
Go ahead.
Isaiah 3 and 10. 16.
Unless that was James, the son of Christ. I'm not sure which one.
No, that's James the brother.
Okay, cool.
Going up therefore, they cast down the just man.
They said they threw him off the ledge in the temple. Go ahead.
Saying to one another, let us stone James the just. And they began to stone him.
So they threw him off the rafters. Then they started working on him.
Then they started stoning him.
As he did not die immediately.
He said he didn't die immediately. He fell off. First of all, you get thrown off the second floor.
Yeah, most of those roofs were second story.
Yeah.
Remember in Isaiah, one of the kings fell off the second story of the roof. They weren't that high. They weren't like 3 and 4 stories high, man. So it's 2-story. You might break a leg out, but you might not be dead.
That still hurt though.
Oh, it hurt like a mother. I ain't saying it. I'm not saying it was like you can walk it off.
Yeah. Plus it's different.
You ain't walking it off.
When you jump off, you can set yourself up for the fall. When you get thrown off, it's however you fall, you fall.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It ain't like you got time to navigate. Like a cat.
And you gonna roll,
the cats know how to do it. They know how to move their tail real quick and land on their feet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's second story.
You got thrown off.
Like out here.
Yeah, time.
You survive. You gonna be jacked up though.
Oh, you heard
your back is on fire, right?
Man, your balls are. Go ahead.
It says, as he did not die immediately when cast down, but turning around, he knelt down, saying, I entreat thee, O Lord, power and Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
James the Just said the same thing that Christ said. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
And Christ said, listen, remember James and John want to sit back and be on Christ's right side, right and left side? He said, you got to be baptized the same way I'm baptized.
He said, can you drink of the cup of the Lord?
This is the cup. This is the damn cup. I'm getting thrown off the second story.
Wow.
That's the cup.
Wow.
You want to get like Christ? You want to be down with Christ? Everybody want to be down with your house shine, right? Everybody say that. Then they get punched in the mouth. Then they realize what following Christ is all about. But keep going. That's just.
No.
I couldn't think about how eager they were to follow Christ.
Yeah, because that was actually James and John's mother said, I have a request of thee that, in the kingdom that you sit my sons, one on the left and one on the right.
We see different chapters say different things. One chapter says it was the sons that hit him up. Another one says the mother. But either way, they wanted it. And he said, I can't do it. Only the Father can do that. But if you want it, you got to be baptized with the same baptism I'm baptized with. And can you handle that? Can you handle martyrdom? Anyway.
Yeah. Read.
Thus they were stoning him, when one of the priests of the sons of Rechab, a son of the Rechabites, spoken by Jeremiah the prophet.
Wow, that Rechab, those were Edomites. No, those were non-Israelites. The priests of Rechab, they were a group of not Israelites, of non-Israelite people that followed the Jews and just stayed as strangers while following the laws of the Most High.
Because they
stayed on the outside of Jerusalem and were operating like they were just strangers, but they observed the laws of the Most High.
And their father had set a decree that none of his sons would drink alcohol. And the children followed that.
Yeah. And they were talked about even in Kings. Those Rechabites were talked about even in Kings when Jehu, remember Jehu went to that holy man and said, look how righteous I am. Look how vengeful I am for the Most High. And he started killing all the sons of Ahab and all the family line of Ahab. He was bringing one of the Rechabite sons to see all the good he was quote unquote doing. I'm saying Rechab goes way back. Anyway, y'all got it.
No,
And he was the one who they were told to dwell in tents.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was their edict.
That was the father that set that up.
Because they were strangers. They weren't Israelites. So you couldn't be partakers of the inheritance of the Israelites.
Go ahead.
A son of Rechabites, spoken of by Jeremiah the prophet,
Yep.
cried out saying, cease what you are doing. Justice is praying for you.
He said, don't you see that justice is praying for you? This man is actually advocating for y'all while y'all killing them. Go ahead.
How many people can do that?
Come on, man. Come on.
How many people can still pray for the person's well-being that is trying to murder you?
I can't. Right.
But see, and this is why when we talk about the 144,000, why we don't got a shot for that. We have searched to say 144K because that's what we're trying to be like. When we want to sit back and see the real gold caliber men in this truth, we can't hold their Bible packets out. We'll be lucky if we're the 1/3. And that's the truth. You're talking about 144,000 over all the generations out.
No way.
There's no way, bro. Look, this is the caliber of men that we're trying to be like and follow their example out.
I'm just trying to defend myself.
That's what all that karate is for. That's all the karate for.
This is what I know is all that.
That's all that Wing Chun is for. For that moment right there. That's why you throw the stuff on the trees, man. You gonna get the practice in, huh? Let me stop by. You know the little. Wait, keep going. I'm sorry.
It says, justice is praying for you. And one of them, a fuller.
A fuller is somebody that does laundry. Because you ever heard of fuller soap in the Bible?
Yeah.
That's somebody, that's a laundry man. That's somebody that washes clothes. That's a laundry guy. He washes clothes. He said one of them a fuller. Go ahead.
Beat out the brains of justice.
He said he beat his brains out. While he was getting stoned, he didn't die after getting thrown off the second floor. He said a laundry guy beat his brains out. Go ahead.
With the club that he used to beat out clothes.
So he got hit with a laundry stick.
After getting stoned.
After getting thrown off the second floor of the temple. You can let that go from there.
Listen, that's a hell of a story, man. No, that's hell of an account. I don't want to make it like a story. That's hell of an account. But this is what happens when you settle for what's right. Sometimes you get delivered.
Sometimes you
Sometimes you don't. And that's something that we have to just deal with in serving the Most High. And when we get to these last days, we're going to be put in this same position. But let's go back to Hebrews 11, verse 37 again.
Are we done with the Josephus?
No.
Okay.
Hebrews 11 and 37.
Hebrews 11 in verse 37. They were stoned. They were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins.
That's talking about John the Baptist. Read on.
They wandered about in sheepskins, in goats,
And eventually was beheaded. Read on.
being destitute, afflicted, tormented.
The ones that really, really commit themselves to Christ, and if we want to get that close to Christ, there's different levels to servitude. There's different levels of commitment. There's different levels of faith. There's different levels of what a person can take. If you want to be great in Christ, this is the cost. How about that? If you want to be great in Christ, this is the cost. Read on.
Of whom the world was not worthy.
And they weren't worthy of men of this caliber. To sit back here and be on death's doorstep and you're praying for the people who have nothing but hatred in their hearts to end you, and you still have the presence of mind to stay spiritual. Read on. That's why it says the world wasn't worthy of these people. They were the 144K. Read on.
They wandered in deserts, and in mountains, and in dens, in caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise.
But with all that being the case, we can't forget, they still suffered, bro. All this greatness, that they suffered tremendously. And I went through this. We get the big picture. But I went here to verse 37 because men were sawed asunder. And this connects right with what we read about Isaiah. And there's another commentary about Isaiah. We're going to read in the International Bible Commentary. It is page 1528. Is it? Yeah. I put it there for a reason, so. Yes. Okay. This is in reference to that Hebrews verse we read. It said the reference to being sawed in two may indicate an acquaintance with a legendary work entitled The Martyrdom of Isaiah, where Isaiah was allegedly sawn asunder with a wood saw because he prophesied the coming redemption through Christ. And other writings talk about how he prophesied against Manasseh. Now, when you read Isaiah towards in the 50s, you read about him prophesying about Christ. And it is said that because Isaiah's prophecies didn't happen immediately, they were going to kill him. It was also prophesied that he talked about how he prophesied against Manasseh, and that's why he was killed. Nobody knows the specific reason why he was killed this way, but he was killed with a saw. Now, whether it was killed through a piece of wood, I don't know why that would be so relevant. They said that he hid in a piece of wood, and because he did, he got sawed through with that wood. It could be that, or he was killed with a wood saw, which is even less sharp, which is even more painful. Regardless of how you want to slice it, he was killed with a saw. And that's the point. And that was the extent of, just imagine that. And I'm painting this out so we can understand that was what Manasseh was doing to the people, to the prophets, to anybody that wanted to serve the Most High. When it says Manasseh was barbarous, that is an example of his barbarity. And you can imagine he did it in different ways of torturing different people. Yes, sir. Kind of. That's what I'm saying. If it was a wood saw, that's out of this world. You're there forever, cutting through this person's body.
Or it could be a saw used for wood.
Yeah,
Con?
that makes more.
Still cutting through bone.
You're still cutting forever out. To cut through bone out. To cut you in half, to split you in half. And why? We're not, listen, today, y'all, I'm just letting y'all know, we are not going into the repentance part of Manasseh today. We're going to focus on the negativity that he did. And next week, we'll go into his redemption story. But I want to make sure we understand how wicked he was.
He's a terror to our people.
How much of a terror he was to anybody that was trying to live right. Don't forget, there was a lot of people trying to live right because Hezekiah just died.
Yeah, exactly.
So righteousness, the momentum of righteousness was picking up.
Yeah.
And he immediately stifled that. Immediately. So they were massacring many people that had just regained their strength in the serving of the Most High. This is how bad of an effect it had on the nation. With the Most High, man, I'm done with these guys. I'm done with them. I'm done. This is what you do when you have a good king. The next generation just throws it all away. I got to do away with these people.
And the people be like, hey, well, you know, it had not been for that pesky white man.
Brother.
Really? It's just the white guys, huh?
It's not, bro. It's us first.
Listen, they're the
it's
devil.
us first, second, and third, huh?
They're the devil. The Bible says that's true.
But they were brought here to punish us.
But we were the black devil first. We were playing games out.
And that was the point
We were
trying to
playing
bring
games
earlier,
worthy. Why did I just say like this to be more professional? Why did the Most High withdraw his protection? There had to be something we did to get the Most High to withdraw his protection.
I know. So what we're gonna do? Let's get back to the Josephus, book 10, chapter 3, paragraph 1. Let's go back to he barbarously. We're gonna run this through the end of the chapter.
He
End of the paragraph. I'm sorry.
He barbarously slew all the righteous men that were among the Hebrews, nor would he spare the prophets. But he every day slew some of them, till Jerusalem was overflown with blood. So Yahweh was angry at these proceedings, and sent prophets to the king.
How about this? Think about this. He was killing righteous men. The Most High was pissed, and he was sending prophets to their death. He knew they were killing righteous men. He like send these prophets to try to get this guy in check out. So read on.
So Yahweh was angry at these proceedings, and sent prophets to the king and to the multitude.
So think about this. His first target was just righteous citizens. His first target was just righteous citizens. We got to cleanse this city of all the goody two-shoes. Let's kill them all. Everybody that loves the Most High, we kill them. So he sends his prophets to check him. Read on.
By whom he threatened the very same calamities to them, which their brethren, the Israelites.
So listen, the number one prophet of the day was Isaiah. So you know the Most High sent Isaiah to hit this guy up and to show him, hey, bro, you about to fall. Stop. But he threatened him the same way he was threatening the righteous men. If you don't come off this God thing, I'm killing you. You on the clock. You better come off this God thing, or you're gonna die. Read on.
Upon the like affronts offered to Yahweh, were now under. But these men would not believe their words, by which belief they might have reaped the advantage of escaping all those miseries.
So he says they didn't give in to those threats. He says these prophets, if they would have caved, they would have reaped the benefits. If they would have caved, they would have sat back here and their lives would have been spared and they would have been left off the hook. But these prophets said, no, man. This is why Paul said they had faith. They had faith enough to stand on their principles and take that loss and fall on their proverbial sword for righteousness' sake. Read on.
Yet did they in earnest learn that what the prophets had told them was true.
Bro, but eventually he found out that all those prophecies that they said were actually the case, and he was eventually going to fall. But those prophets had to die just to deliver a message to a person that didn't want to listen. That's messed up. The prophets had to die to deliver a message that the king wasn't going to adhere to. And that's the cost of being a servant of the Most High. you're going to go on a suicide mission sometimes. You might have to go on a suicide mission for him. Kinda. The city was overflowed with blood. I think with that we're going to stop. We can go further, but there's another phase of this we'll go into next week. We're going to the... Listen, there's still more about the topic, but it's 2 o'clock. I think we should stop it at that point. The magnitude of the wickedness. We're going to leave it at that. All right? So with that, we're going to send our prayers up. Amajib, Wapanya, Yerushalayim. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Please listen to us right now.
Please listen to us right now.
Send Michael
Send Michael
and the righteous angel.
and the righteous angel
to watch over.
to watch over.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Protect.
Protect.
And make strong.
And make strong.
The people of Yahshua.
The people of Yahshua.
Also send unto us.
Also send unto us
Much wisdom.
Much wisdom.
Much knowledge.
Much knowledge.
Much understanding.
Much understanding.
Much patience.
Much patience.
Much faith.
Much faith.
Much brotherhood.
Much brotherhood.
And much love.
and much love.
Spiritual power.
Spiritual power.
And forgive all of our sins.
And forgive all of our sins.
Yahushua come quickly.
Yahushua come quickly.
For in thee.
For in thee
is our hope.
is our hope.
Always.
Always.
And forever.
And forever.
Amen.
Amen.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ahawa. Nothing to know.
Atawara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the law.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ahawa. Nothing to know. A word. La Ra'ah.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives us the light to see.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ahawa. Nothing to know. Ha'ayom. Kwara.
Ha'ayin. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Rakatay Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Ahawa. Nothing to know. Shaman. Zayat. Lamashak.
Yashua. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalm 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
O Yahweh. To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
And thy faithfulness every night.
And thy faithfulness every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the psaltery.
Upon the harp.
Upon the harp.
With the solemn sound.
With the solemn sound.
For thou Yahweh. Hast made me glad through thy work.
Has made me glad through thy work.
I will triumph. In the works of thy hands.
In the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh. How great are thy works.
How great are thy works.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring is a grass.
When the wicked spring is a grass.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
But thou Yahweh. Art most high forevermore.
Art most high forevermore.
For lo thine enemies.
For lo thine enemies.
O Yahweh. For lo thine enemies.
For lo thine enemies.
Shall perish. All the workers of iniquity.
All the workers of iniquity.
Shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt. Like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see. My desire. On my enemies. And my enemies shall hear. My desire. Of the wicked. That rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord
shall flourish in the courts of our power.
shall flourish in the courts of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that the Lord is upright.
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
And there is no unrighteousness in him.
And there is no righteousness in him.
By Shem Yahushua.
By Shem Yahushua.
Psalms 133. Shayar.
Shayar.
Hama'ayawa.
Hama'ayawa.
Ladawai.
Ladawai.
Hana.
Hana.
Ma. Tawa. Wama. Na'ayam. Shabbat. Akim. Gam. Yachad. Kashaman. Hatawa. Ayo. Hara'ash. Yarad. Ayo. Hasakwan. Sakwan. Aharad. Shayarad. Ayo. Hayah. Madawath Yawa. Qatar. Haramwan. Shayarad. Ayo. Haroria. Tazayawan. Hayah. Sham. Tazawa. Yahweh. Habaraka. Kayayim. Hawalam. Bashem Yahushua.
Psalms 133 in English. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirt of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded a blessing, even life evermore. Amen.
Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Walking out. Wabiat. Support. Turn. Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Walking out. Wabiat. Support. Turn. Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Walking out. Wabiat. Support. Turn. Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Walking out. Wabiat. Support. Rakta Yahweh. Rakta Yahushua. Rakta Yahweh. Rakta Yahushua. Rakta Yahweh. Rakta Yahushua. All knowledge. All wisdom. All understanding. All mercy. All patience. All long suffering. All humility. All power. From Yahweh. All power. From Yahweh. All power. From Yahweh. By Shem Yahushua. The water. Amiyad. Circle up. Do it.
Saluting out in the heavenly order. Yahweh, Yahushua, Wakaya Sha'ala, Mina Israel Majam, Barak.
Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, welcome.
Kum Yasha.
Kum Yasha.
Is it my top? Turn your face to sisters. Sisters, please stand.
Mom Shabbat.
Saluting out the daughters of Zion, Mina Israel Majam, Barak.
Yahweh welcome by Shem Yahushua. That's my top. Dismissed. Fall out. The Water Age River tuning in. See y'all on Monday.